anniversary of NASCAR racing in Delaware. The first state's first race, 1969, had asphalt origins, but now a concrete monster has emerged. Friday, Chase Elliott followed up his Talladega win with a pole run. Kyle Larson had a hair-raising incident a week ago, but looks poised to flip the script. Does Kevin Harvick have enough to tame the beast? Or will Jimmy Johnson slay Miles the Monster for the 12th time in his career? Who will take home the Golden Goliath? Next on FS1. Fox Sports welcomes you to the Gander RV 400 on FS1 on a beautiful spring Monday in Delaware. As Yogi Berra said, it's deja vu all over again. But it's a great day for a race. A green racetrack from a lot of rain all night long, all afternoon and all night long, and fast race cars. But here we go.
Yeah, you know, yesterday we talked about drivers are creatures of habit. Well, listen, you know what today and yesterday have in common? It's race day, and I'm ready to race. I put on my work clothes this morning, and I'm ready to go out there and drive 400 miles and get the job done. How about you, Jeff?
Well, with all these changing conditions, and you talked about it, Mike, all the rubber's been washed off this racetrack. The handling of these race cars are going to change constantly. Every 10, 20 laps, it's going to change. Rising temperatures, I think it's going to change throughout the day. So what these drivers do and the information that they give back to their crew chief, I think could make the big difference of whether they win or lose. And speaking of crew chiefs, let's hear from ours, Larry McReynolds.
Yeah, Jeff, I am concerned about this race car because it sat out in most of this rain yesterday afternoon and throughout the night. The only thing these teams could change about the race car was the tape on the nose, the air pressure, warm the engine up, and change the radios, anything to do with driver comfort. But the biggest thing I'm concerned about, you just talked about it, the difference in weather from yesterday to today, and it's going to change throughout this race. So I've got to keep up with what my driver's telling me, and I got to keep watching the sky too, because I'll make adjustments based on both those things.
Thanks, Larry. Bright sun right now, but clouds rolling in from the west. The temperature is going to make its way to 70 by race end, and the sun's going to play peekaboo with those clouds and just confound drivers and crew chiefs. They have fired the engines. 37 cars at the ready. As the pace car pulls out, we'll roll the starting grid across the bottom of your screen. Hendrick Motorsports on the front row. Chevy, 3 of the top 4 positions, 4 of the top 5. Highest qualified Ford was Joey Logano in 4th, and Denny Hamlin in 8th is the first Toyota on the grid. We'll congratulate Kevin Harvick on his big win here yesterday because after NASCAR called the race, we ran a replay of last year's spring Dover race, and we'll have more on that later.
That's hilarious. Oh, let's talk to William Byron. What do you say? Let's get today's. Hey, William Byron, it's DW, man. You got a copy?
Yeah, 10-4, I got you.
Hey, now, get up on that wheel, brother. You got the winningest crew chief here, the Chad Knaus on the box, show on the front row. How you feel about today's race?
I feel great. Obviously, you had to kind of wait out the weather, but feel good about our car, feel good about what we got on the racetrack here, and just excited to get going. It's been a couple days, so ready to go fast.
All right, brother, you good on the long run? How you feel? Things going to stay with you all day?
Yeah, I think so. Track's definitely going to change, so looking towards lap 200 or 250 to kind of be our number to start going, and hopefully we're good then, so looking forward to it.
All right, pal, you got a couple of fans up here pulling for you, so get the job done.
Appreciate it.
Now, they'll be interesting, those front row drivers on pit road. Chase Elliott has pit number 1, while William Byron's crew chief Chad Knaus, as he usually does, took pit 37. Let's get late-breaking stories from a sunny pit road and Vince Welch.
Yeah, good to be standing in the sun today, too, Mike. Hey, a couple of concerns for pole sitter Chase Elliott. The first of which, he's going to be the first guy diving into turn 1 on this green racetrack, and that can be an attention getter. Also, with his teammate William Byron starting on the inside of him, they had a conversation about Byron not being too aggressive or overly aggressive into 1 and sliding up into Elliott. The second issue, take care of the tires, especially the right front. And so for Chase Elliott, starting on the outside, he wants to get to the bottom as soon as possible and stay there until that competition on lap 40. That's going to preserve the tires the best. Matt Yoakum?
Vince, 12 years ago on a Monday here in Dover, Martin Truex Jr. scored his first career Cup Series win. But today, speed and track position is not indicative of just how good of a car he has. He qualified 13th. He's dropping to the back, serving an inspection penalty, but he had one of the top 3 cars in final practice, and he wasn't even really pushing it that hard. Now look for Cole Pern, where the cautions fall, to play some strategy to earn some track position. Jamie Little?
Well, Kurt Busch is starting back in 19th, mid-pack, just like his younger brother, Kyle. Now, his car seemed to be decent on Friday, but it was extremely loose in qualifying and practice on Saturday. But his crew chief, Matt McCall, told me he's confident in the adjustability they have built into this car. The setup that they brought today, that will play out in this race today. Now, keep in mind for Kurt Busch in the 1, when it comes to rain delays, he has 3 wins on Monday. Mike?
Thanks, Jamie. Ready to go racing in Delaware as the field now is formed behind the Toyota Camry XSE 2019 that leads the field. 1 lap to green. 400 laps takes 400 miles here. Stages 1 and 2, 120 laps each, so the race would be complete after stage 2. Rain not a factor today. Pit road speed 35, fuel window a little above 80 laps. Grip level a 3 to 4 on a scale of 5. Here are the drivers who are going to the rear, and Matt Tifft, because he flunked inspection 3 times, will do a pass-through penalty after he takes the green on the racetrack. Let's listen in on the pole sitter.
400, good one, fellas. Let's get it. Okay, 10-4. Thanks for the effort on this thing, fellas. Now for brake, Chevy looks good. Execute our plan. Just race our race. Let us know where the track involves, Chase. We'll try to do our best to keep up with it for you. Roger.
I like Chase. I like you said, let's get it.
Well, and he knows what that feels like here at Dover. Last time these cars were here in the fall race, he kind of took one away from Kevin Harvick.
He did.
Competition caution on lap 40 because of the overnight rain.
I'm always anxious at this on a Monday like this of those guys that are sitting there going, I'm going to catch some of these other guys sleeping on these opening laps. I'm going to be aggressive versus those guys that are sitting there going, I'm going to wait for the track to come to me.
You know what I'm saying? Go right ahead.
What else do you say, Darrell?
Well, you know what? It's Dover. It's Monday. It's a beautiful day. And I say, boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing on the concrete, boys.
Suarez and Stenhouse 3 wide. As up front, William Byron did not get a good start off turn 4.
No, that outside has been the real preferred line in the last couple of races we watched here. Not surprised that 9 car jumped out the way he did.
Well, I'm not surprised. We've already seen some guys further on back trying to make it 3 wide in just the first couple of corners.
Well, you're right about one thing, though, Jeff. When you got them bunched up like this is a great opportunity to pass a bunch of cars if you can find a spot to pass them in.
And we're riding, our shot here with Denny Hamlin and also with Ryan Blaney. And you know, what you can do as a driver is you can lock that car down on the inside and really make their life really tough if you get on that outside. They just can't get in the throttle, and that's what Denny Hamlin did right there to Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, I think you're going to see most everybody fight for the bottom right now, Mike, because already you can see a black groove in the corner, and you want to take care of that right front tire. You're going to want to stay in that black groove for a while.
Exception, Ricky Stenhouse all the way up to the top very, very early, trying to gain some ground, and he has picked up 5 from his 20th starting position. Ryan Preece has had a tough weekend. The JTG Doherty team, both the 37 and the 47, changed setups completely after practice, went for all mechanical grip instead of aero. They're kind of struggling even in the early going here.
See the 38. David Reagan gets up the racetrack. The 47 season opening tries to take advantage of it. But that's what I'm talking about. When you're on the bottom and there's a car on the outside of you, it's really easy for the back end to step out and for you to lose a lot of momentum.
Yeah, it cost Priest, but he made a good decision right there. It's early. Let's don't push the issue.
Now, we talked about this green racetrack and how it's going to lay rubber and how tires, even though it's a 40-lap run here until that competition caution comes out, I would be a little nervous if I'm Alan Gustafson on the box right now. Chase Elliott has a blistering pace right now that he's setting.
And remember, 40 laps, so that's 40 miles. That's a half away to a gas stop.
Here's Ty Dillon's view with our Fox Visor cam.
Feels like you're in the corners forever here. And this track's almost all corners, high bank, really fast. Got to put that wheel like he's doing right there to it, and then hard in the throttle.
Jeff, that lap by Chase Elliott is faster than the pole for this race was last year. That's how fast these cars are running around this racetrack.
I'm reminded of the old nursery rhyme about Jack and Jill went up the hill. Well, Denny Hamlin went up the hill and almost came tumbling down.
So you see he's on the outside, Ryan Blaney. Right there, the car landed, and it just, when it landed, it just looked like the back end wasn't real stable, and he had to walk that thing up the racetrack.
Yeah, it just never took a set. It just kind of went in there loose and stayed loose.
And he's still in
loose.
trouble.
Yeah.
He lost a spot to Eric Jones and now another to Jimmy Johnson.
You know what? That's a smart driver. He says, I'm not right. My car's not right. I don't need anybody on my back bumper right now. I got to find a hole to get into here.
I got to believe this track's going to tighten up as rubber lays down. So being loose right now, I don't think is a bad thing for later.
If you make it to later, I agree. I think that's the only problem.
Alex Bowman is one of those drivers, had to go to the rear for inspection issues. He has made up 10 positions, make that 11 as he passes Paul Menard.
Yeah, car looks really good right on the bottom.
Well, you got two teammates start on the front row. Surely you can get a little information from them to help you in the race today.
Yeah, and right behind him is Mark Truex Jr. making his way up through there right along with Alex Bowman.
Yeah, Truex has got a great race car. He was good in practice yesterday. Had some issues, but he'll be all right. He'll be up there before the day's over. And we see our...
Whoa, that was
whoa,
close.
whoa, hang on, Jimmy.
Man, that was so close. Jimmy Johnson tried to squeeze up right in front of Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin was not backing out.
Well, there's 4 drivers that aren't happy about that.
Wow.
Yeah, those other 2 guys almost got caught up in that if Jimmy Johnson had gone around.
You know, I said that Levin didn't want anybody on his rear bumper, but he didn't mind getting on Jimmy's rear bumper. Wow.
Lap 11, a little early for that kind of thing.
I agree.
See, Jimmy jumped in the throttle trying to squirt through the middle to get up in front of him. He just wasn't quite clear, and Denny didn't cut him any slack there either.
I think it was a tail wagging.
There's Matt Tifft, who did that pass-through penalty and is 2 laps down as a result.
And Mike, the fastest car in practice was Kyle Larson. And right now he's up there trying to get around the 22 of Joey Logano. We expect to see Kyle Larson really have a great day here today. He's got a good race car.
Stenhouse to the bottom this time to try to get past Denny Hamlin. This is for 12th.
Stenhouse led some laps here last year in this race, so I think he really is a big fan of Dover.
Hamlin now down 5 positions from where he started.
I think you're right, Jeff. I think guys like Stenhouse, dirt track experience, leaning on these banks, back end hung out just a little bit, doesn't seem to bother Stenhouse much.
Yeah, you almost slide that right rear through the corners here.
16 laps complete. Chase Elliott stepping it out in Dover.
Phil.
Still under green at 21 laps in Dover. Today's Ford Performance Track Facts. The one season that Richard Petty drove a Ford was 1969, and he won the inaugural race here.
By
It's
6
one of those
laps.
Torinos.
Wow.
Kevin Harvick went to victory here last spring and yesterday, if you watch the replay. And, oh, we're going to have some fun with that. Biggest movers. Two of the cars that started in the back under penalty, Alex Bowman and Martin Truex, have gained the most spots in this race in the first 24 laps.
These
Ricky
guys have
Stenhouse.
they've been flying up through there. I've been watching both the 88 and the 19 right up until they caught the 18 of Kyle Busch, and now they've just been following along in his tire tracks.
Well, I thought Kyle was kind of riding until they caught him, Jeff, and then he lit the fuse and went to work.
Started out tight, center off. Second apex, real tight, real tight in traffic. Entry 30 to 70 kind of come to me a little bit. Still tight, back up the hill.
I'd say he's tight.
Yeah, Larry Mack, how tight is 5 reels and a tight?
5 reels at a tight.
Real.
I get a feeling that is really tight.
Thank you for that expert analysis. Our crew chief, America's crew chief, Larry McReynolds.
But you look at Kyle Busch's results here in this spring race compared to you'd swear it was 2 different guys, 2 different cars. Because his fall race here is incredible. A lot of single-digit finishes. His spring race here, a lot of double-digit finishes. Look at these numbers, Mike. I mean, this is pretty hard to believe. Look at spring race. Best finish, 16.
Nothing in the top 15.
But look at the fall. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I believe it's last year. I think they broke a drive shaft last year. They had some weird things that have happened that have contributed to some of those bad finishes.
He is 15th right now, 13 seconds off the lead. Competition caution coming 13 laps from now. Kevin Harvick from 6th, riding 4th. Matt Yoakum.
Mike, a year ago, Kevin Harvick dominated this race. He also dominated it yesterday. If folks by chance missed that we were actually in rain-filled coverage, and they were not alone. Sponsor Jimmy John's was confused. Eric Stonestreet, Harvick's friend, the actor, he was confused. Now, they sent congratulatory texts on Harvick's, what they thought first win of the year, to Harvick and his agent Josh Jones yesterday. And then they realized, wait a minute, it was rained out. But his sponsor also, Outback, because on Monday they have the Bloomin' Monday promotion. If he scores a top 10 finish, they sent out a company-wide email to help lessen the confusion. As you see the 24 get loose, to help lessen the confusion. If they stop in today, they still get the Bloomin' Monday from a year ago or yesterday. I'm not sure.
Big moment for our outside pole sitter, William Byron, or inside pole sitter as Chase took the outside lane. Watch the 24.
Yeah, it's a pretty heavy traffic following Kevin Harvick through there.
Man, that is frightening right there. And a car right to your outside, the 77 car, he was lucky he saved that.
You think it was frightening. How about Quinn Houff?
Yeah. What's that guy
Just
doing?
minding his own business.
Yeah. But that's kind of Dover in a nutshell, Mike. You get down under another car and you get that air coming off that car in front of you, and it really upsets your car and can make you get loose like that.
Now, Bubba Wallace wants to avoid going a lap down before the competition caution that's coming in 8 laps.
Oh, yeah. When you're that last car on the lead lap and the leader's coming, you fight as hard as you can. You do not want to go a lap down here before we get to 40 laps.
Well,
Vince?
Well, it's tough enough because the car's starting to lose grip for Chase Elliott, but he's really been asking Eddie DeHaan to help him with the lap traffic, and you see that's exactly what he's dealing with right now. A little frustrated with some of these lap cars, but as you guys indicated, right now with the competition caution so close, you want to do everything you can to keep from falling a lap down. The Chase has got him.
Larry, what are you seeing with the track in these opening 30 laps?
Mike, I'm amazed, but I'm probably not completely surprised. With 37 drivers out there in 33 laps, I'm seeing a lot of rubber already going down around this 1 mile racetrack, and I think that's why now, before this competition caution, we're starting to see the drivers move around, just trying to search other grooves on this racetrack.
You know, Larry, I heard a lot of the crew chiefs say that this tire combination was laying down rubber better than they remember it doing in the past. And I've talked to Mike Joy here. I said, Mike, you see that black groove groove already coming in. That was about 10 laps into the race.
Well, you know what that means? If it's laying rubber, that means it's taking it off of those tires. I can't wait to see what these tires, especially that right front tire, looks like off of some of these leaders that have been setting a pretty fast pace.
Boy, a couple drivers really need a caution. Denny Hamlin is one. And Jamie?
Kyle Larson would like a caution as well. Extremely loose. Best start of the year for the 42. But Jeff, as you guys talk about tires, this team a little bit concerned. In practice on Saturday, they ran 17 laps and ported both right side tires. Chad Johnson, the crew chief, told me he was going to start getting nervous about the 30 lap mark, especially early in this race.
Well, the average pace, to your point, Jamie, is equal to last year's pole qualifying speed for this race.
Yeah, Mike, I mean, just sitting up here in the booth watching these cars go around the track, they are flying around this racetrack. I've never seen cars this fast.
Well, nobody should know this Goodyear tire better than that 42 team. They're one of the 3 teams, I believe, that came and did the tire test here.
Well, you know, we watched his in-car camera yesterday, Jeff, and I commented a couple of times how the car was fast, but it was locked down. There was a lot of vibration in that car. I was worried about how it was going to act on this surface today as the rubber builds up.
And that will wear those tires out a little bit more than maybe somebody that's got a little bit more compliant setup.
All right, hold your breath and hold your position for 2 more laps. That'll be the NASCAR mandated competition yellow at lap 40. Kyle Busch wants one more. Lapped car up high, Reed Sorensen.
Well, look for some big adjustments to come to the 18 and Kyle Busch's team. If he's real tight, they're going to make some big adjustments.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, Mike. Think about this. There are going to be 25 cars on pit road. Pit road's going to be crowded. We know how tough this pit road is just to get on. And then what's going to happen once you make your stop and start down pit road? Is somebody going to pull out in front of you and block you, or what's going to happen? Pit road's going to be interesting today.
Chris Buescher is in the free pass position as we come around to complete lap number 40. Chase Elliott has led them all.
Put it out. This is the competition caution.
Lap 40.
And Mike, if NASCAR doesn't just pull 40 out of the air, they take the entire field. They don't take 1 car, 2 cars. This guy might be good. This guy might be bad. They look at the entire field and they felt comfortable that 40 laps was a good number.
And now a quick word from Duracell.
This is the #1 trusted brand.
Well, Chris Buescher almost got there at the moment of caution. Michael McDowell had just been lapped by Chase Elliott, so McDowell will get the free pass. And when we restart, we'll have 25 cars on the lead lap.
Well, we've talked about how the outside line, Mike, has been a big advantage if you can restart on that outside. Jeff, what do you think? Are you in a position to start counting cars here, or crew chief, spotter, and somebody help you?
I think you might, because we even saw at the start of this race William Byron lose positions, lost 2 or 3 positions just getting down into turn 1. So I do think that inside line is not the lane you're going to want to be in.
Here they come, Matt.
Harvick pitting off turn 4. His spotter, Timmy Fidoa, will indeed be counting cars, trying to get him that outside lane for the restart. They're going to make a slight chassis adjustment. Harvick a little free a couple times in traffic, but primarily, Jamie, it was too tight center to exit.
Kyle Larson in the 42, just too loose, especially on entry and exit of the corner. A 4-tire stop here, a wedge adjustment as well, and a little air pressure. Vince?
Well, as far as the 2 of Joey Logano is concerned, Logano starts tight and then turns into a 4-wheel drift, so he needs some help there. 4 tires and air pressure. Chase Elliott, no changes, just 4 tires, says he's got good ability to move that car around, and that's a good sign. He's going to be the first one off pit road.
And that will be so important here today, because Saturday and Friday, the truck race and Xfinity race were both won by the first driver off pit road on the final stop. Chase Elliott retains the lead at 42 laps. It was a soggy Sunday here in Dover. But look at these hardy race fans, many of them out here in campers that have braved the rain all night. They're back for Monday. Thanks to them for coming, being part of the show as we get ready to restart at lap 45.
I love listening them come up through the gears. The engine sounds so nice and clean and crisp.
Boy, Logano got a great restart there. Almost took advantage of Chase Elliott to get by him. Going to fall into second here. Larson getting to the outside.
Whoa, Larson, man,
crossover for Larson.
Still there, 42.
I don't know what they did at 42, but they fixed it for now anyway.
Well, and if your car's a little bit loose on the long runs, it might take off pretty good here.
Oh, Jimmy Johnson just booted Ricky Stenhouse as they accordioned in front of him coming off turn number 2. They're still single file there.
Jimmy's having a tough go here. He gets hit in the back. He's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, it looks like Stenhouse really struggling, maybe down on the front splitter. The car's just not able to carry speed through the center.
Kyle Busch coming from 13th.
Like Kyle Busch just has a theory. You go where they're not. And that usually works pretty good for him. And we saw tire wear. That didn't seem to be an issue. 40 laps, everybody's tires look nice, no problem. So that's comforting for these drivers. They'll drive a little harder.
Yeah, even drivers that had been complaining about handling did not appear to be showing excess tire wear.
Look good. You
Yeah,
see
I'm
the
pretty
wear
surprised
hose.
how fast that pace was and how clean this racetrack was. Matt?
Looking at the tires that came off Harvick, Byron, Truex, and Boyer's cars, talking to the Goodyear engineers, expected wear, so things look pretty good for a green racetrack early on.
Alex Bowman, 18th against Paul Menard.
Bowman's got a pretty good car. He's kind of started deep in the field, but he's worked his way up through here pretty good. But I'm going to tell you something, Mike. Unless something happens, that 9 car, I mean, he is in a league of his own right now. His lap times are a good bit quicker, and he's really putting on a show right now.
We saw Denny Hamlin struggle through the first 40 laps. He restarted 23rd, and he's picked up 1 spot. Jamie?
Yeah, and that's unfortunate for him. He started 8th, but it has been a struggle all weekend, Mike. They have worked on this car. They've been on the loose side, the tight side, adjusted a lot. Got him similar to the 19, and it's just not working. They made an air pressure adjustment there. Denny came on the radio and just said, I don't know what I can do. I can't get in or off. His crew chief, Chris Gabehart, said we have worked on it all year. Remember, we make stuff out of nothing. Stay with us.
And he's right. I mean, I can't tell you how many times have we heard that 11 car in trouble. Get pit road speeding penalties, get a lap down, get in trouble early on, but they always fight back and usually end up in the top 5.
He was second here last fall.
Somebody who's fighting is that 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. You know, I think he's just been waiting for the air pressures to come up, for that car to come to him. So he's really trying to maintain track position here ahead of Jimmy Johnson and Martin Truex Jr.
That was always my favorite. You know, you'd be driving a car and they'd have real low air and they say, man, I'm going to wreck this thing. Just hang on to it. It'll be okay. It'll come to you. Well, it better come in a hurry because I'm about to wreck.
And of all the racetracks out there, I think this might be towards the top of how important track position is and how hard drivers will fight to maintain it.
Yeah, and the other thing, Jeff, I think you'll know is low air, as low as you can start these tires, the better off you're going to be. Because, Mike, remember, the expansion joints in this concrete, it makes these tires overwork and build up air pressure.
And the length of these corners, how much speed you're carrying. So, you know, that's also putting a lot of load into those tires and building those air pressures up quickly.
What do you think? I'll ask you this question. Would you rather run 400 miles in this car at this speed, or would you rather run 500 miles in a little bit slower car at the speeds we used to run? What do you think?
I like to go fast. What are you talking about? Hey, as long as my car was out front, I'm good with it either way.
It don't matter.
How about Daniel Suarez passes his teammate Almirola? That's for 15th place. And here comes Bowman.
Yeah, I think Alex Bowman does have a good race car. Certainly on the short runs, we saw that at the beginning of this race. Might have to work on a little bit on the long runs, but right now all these positions that he can pick up, he's got a pretty good pit stall because of how well he qualified. He should be able to continue to make his way forward.
And remember, we had a in-the-car camera with Clint Boyer, and you remember he looked like he was swatting flies. I mean, he was all over that steering wheel, and that was just in qualifying. Imagine doing that for 400 laps.
Now, during final practice, Kyle Larson had the best 10-lap average speed. We're going to put that up against, with our Fox Ghost car, against last year's. The car in front is this year.
Yeah, we've been hearing drivers talk and engineers talk about 15 miles per hour, carrying 15 miles per hour more speed through the center of the corner this year here at Dover than last year. Obviously, last year the cars had very little downforce. This year they've got a ton of downforce.
I just always remember what Sterling Moss said. They look like a rope, like a rock on the end of a rope.
Rock on a rope, Steve Burns would say.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff, last year we came here with about 1,700 or 1,800 pounds total downforce, front and rear. These cars this year, with the bigger rear spoiler, with the radiator pan, with the bigger front splitter, over 3,000 pounds. And this is a 1-mile track, so this is the exact size tapered spacer, 750 horsepower that we ran. So the difference is all the downforce, but the same horsepower.
Chase Elliott has led all 60 laps so far. Last year in winning in October, he led only 11.
Oh.
67 laps in the books in Dover with just the competition caution at lap 40. And Chase Elliott is trying to run away from the field. He's 1.3 seconds up on Kyle Larson in second place. And what a year he has had. One trouble-free race, and that was Phoenix. Otherwise, a lot of difficulty of his own making. Here's today's Ram built for the playoffs, with Kyle Larson 21st in points right now, 10 spots below where he was last season. Going to be tough to point your way into the playoffs from there.
I agree, unless he can put performances like he's put together so far this week, and they've started to make their own luck. We've talked about how bad of luck he's had, but honestly, if you look at it, he qualified up front. They were fast in practice. They tested here. He's up front right now, kind of actually, I think, closing in on our leader Chase Elliott. I think they're poised in a good position to even point their way in if they keep running like this.
Darrell, just his last 6 weeks: contact, accident, tire vibration hit the wall, contact, cut down a tire, and the flip at the end of Talladega. As a driver, how do you keep that out of the cockpit?
Well, see, I really like, we talked to Kyle yesterday, as you know, and and Jeff's talked to him quite a bit over the weekend. I've been around him a couple of times. You know what I like about him? It's not poor, pitiful me.
Right.
I mean, he points out the same things we're looking at, bad results. But I also see a guy today when he got in that race car that really had a good attitude. He knows this is an opportunity, and I think he maybe will capitalize today without any problems.
But
Jeff,
you know, Darrell, how hard it is, sorry, Mike, to not get caught up in that what's going to happen next.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, I saw that in-car shot, Jeff, but I didn't see that mojo bag you bought him down at Madame Rouge down there.
I have a feeling he's got it filled up in that car somewhere.
So back behind Larson are 5 Fords in a row, beginning with Logano, Harvick, and the 2 of Brad Keselowski.
Good lap. Chase has moved up to 50% both ends. I haven't seen no benefit in lap times. You're just as good where you're at. When he moves up, does he diamond or run the radius? He might move up a half car length from there to there, but it's pretty close to this running the radius. It isn't much of a diamond at all.
So I love race car drivers when they want that much detail. We hear that sometimes out of Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, and now Brad Keselowski. He doesn't just want to know when a car is running up high. He wants to know exactly where they're putting that car every foot as we see a potential pass for the lead here. Larson got a big run off the top.
I think traffic played a little bit of role in that, but Larson definitely got a heck of a run off too over there.
Played a big role. He got a big run off Reed Sorensen way around the outside, and it brought him right up to the leader.
But I would even say 8 or 10 laps ago, and this might actually make it happen if Larson could get to the outside here, but I saw about 8 or 10 laps ago the 9-car Chase Elliott starting to move around the racetrack. That tells me the handling on that race car is going away a little bit.
Kyle looking high, and in the double box you will see a replay of Kyle Larson's move.
Yeah, there's just heavy traffic right there. So that had a lot to do with this. But even when they were in clean air, I thought I saw Larson have a little bit better balance and his car turning just slightly better than the 9 of Chase Elliott.
But you know what I like? I think Chase Elliott, I don't think he's running 100%. Because when that 42 looked at him, got close to him, you see he gapped him again. So I'm not sure. What do you think, Vince?
Well, I think that's a great point, DW, because Chase, prior to that challenge from Larson, was constantly getting updates on what the lap times were of Larson and the other fast cars on track, and letting Chase know that he was just fine, how hard he needed to run the car, and also the line that Larson in particular was taking in relation to his own. So I think right now it's the lap traffic that's the biggest issue, not necessarily the car of the 9.
Yeah, don't punish the car, and by the way, don't punish the driver. Save a little something.
Chase Elliott trying to hold off a fast closing Kyle Larson after 77 laps. 83 laps complete in Dover, where aerial coverage is provided by Goodyear. Win your battles, earn your name. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Turn 3, turn 4 for third place, Logano and Harvick.
Yeah, Harvick got down under Logano, Mike, but again, it gets loose when you get under somebody. He got a little bit loose, had to let Logano go.
Yeah, and also the 34 there, McDowell was in that preferred lane on the bottom that Harvick was trying to run, so that stalled him out a little bit too. But I think the 4 car is one of the best cars out there if he can get up towards the front.
7th place here, Blaney and Byron.
Yeah, I think they may have made some adjustments on that 24 car, William Byron, on that last pit stop, because they definitely lost some track position coming off of pit road, and now he's trying to make it back up.
Here comes Truex. After starting in the back, he's slowly but surely, he's in 9th place right now and got a couple of cars in sight. That's a good race car, that 19.
Oh, he was really strong in practice, thought it had good balance. He felt really confident about it.
I think that bad pit stop for Byron, I think he lost 3 or 4 spots. That really put him back in the field here a little bit, but I don't think he'll be denying that 19 here in a little while.
Larry, we're saying that the race pace has picked up about a 1/4 second a lap from that first 40-lap run. What do we make of that?
Well, I just think now that this track has taken some rubber, I think that the grip level has went up. You know, Jeff and I talked about this about a week ago, and you did the grip level of 3 to 4, and what that grip level is based off of is air pressure build up in the tires and the track taking rubber. That's where the grip comes from.
Well, here's a look at it. The track started out white at the top of your screen, and look at it now as it picks up rubber.
That's amazing to me, just how it does that.
It's as if you could see the car's tracks go through there every single lap.
Well, that's the difference in asphalt and concrete, Mike. Rubber lays on top of concrete. It goes down into asphalt.
Alex Bowman up to 10th place over Ricky Stenhouse. Matt?
A great run, dropping to the back, serving that penalty. You mentioned, Mike, he has made it into the top 10. And I talked to his crew chief, Greg Ives, and he told me last week, yes, it was a super speedway, but getting that 2nd place finish, that positive vibe is infectious, not only for the driver, but throughout the entire team. They came here, had speed every session on the racetrack, and that's why they knew they had confidence. They could come from the back to the front, and he's checking them off in the 88.
Now here's a Larry Mack nugget about Bowman. He has finished in his Cup career in every single position 2 through 43. He's finished everywhere in one race or another, but first. Yeah.
Wow. That is a Mack nugget right there.
Heck of a stat. Of course, I think he'd rather have just finishing first instead of the other positions.
Right. How about Denny Hamlin, who has now gone a lap down? He is running right where he restarted, 23rd, but the race pace is about 0.4 of a second faster than Hamlin's able to manage right now.
Man, that's just crazy when I think about that. Even the type of year that Denny Hamlin's been having, they've been really fast. It's a pretty good track for him.
I think,
surprising.
Jeff, you come in, with that 40-lap caution, you make some adjustments to the car. Driver gets comfortable, track tightens up a little bit, and you can hammer the throttle a little bit harder and make some fast laps around this joint.
You're riding with Clint Boyer, who also jumped on Twitter to admonish his followers yesterday afternoon. That's last year's race you're watching. Cut it out.
We got a doubleheader this weekend.
Yeah, people wondered why Martin Truex was in the 78 car, and somebody tweets, hey, that's not Jamie McMurray in the one. Was last year's race.
You know what I like? It was just a race. It was fun to watch. Kind of reminiscent, bring back some memories of what we saw here last year.
Now here's another in-car shot with Clint Boyer. We watched him through qualifying, and watching his eyes. Right now you get a little bit better idea. Look at his eyes as he looks up into the mirror. And usually what a driver does is they base what's happening behind them, maybe looking at a different line that a driver's running, or if that driver is closing in on them, it gives them a bit of an idea of what their pace is.
Yeah, and I know we're racing. I don't see the intensity that I saw in those eyes and that wheel when he was trying to make one fast lap around this joint. So he's settled down, just running a nice pace.
Well, and you have to. I mean, 400 laps here at Dover, it will wear you out. So you have to find a comfortable pace you can settle into.
Kyle Busch around Jimmy Johnson around the outside. He got a run there with traffic.
I really, with the way that Jimmy Johnson's practice went, and of course how good he is at this racetrack, I thought Jimmy Johnson would be a real factor in this race, but so far a little work to do.
And we listened in on Stenhouse.
Be watching SMT. I can't turn the steering wheel any further to the left. Yeah, Dimple, we know you just got to keep making time right here. Just focus on getting us to the stage. We're still in good position right here. It's going to get you through the stage. I'm giving you feedback, making sure you're looking at everything.
14th for Stenhouse right now. He restarted 8th.
And Mike, you hear that's Stenhouse. He and the crew chief talking, he and the engineer. I'm not sure who that was, but a driver is on edge. He's edgy, and when he makes a comment and you don't come back with what he wants to hear, he might fire something back at you don't want to hear. So, really got to cool out when you're talking to your driver.
Matt.
Mike, the 17 team and Brian Patty made an adjustment on that first stop, an air pressure change, trying to help get more grip to the nose of that 17 car. But Stenhouse is saying that the car is still tight on the splitter early, and it's just simply plowing now.
21 to go in stage 1, Matt. They'll get a chance to work on it. As Chris Buescher about to go 2 down. We're going to take you double wide here on FS1 at lap 100. $104 miles complete in the Gander RV 400 in Dover. Caution, Ricky Stenhouse, turn 1. Caught the wall down in entering turn 1. Well, he said he couldn't turn the wheel anymore to make it turn. Let's see what happened.
Now, I don't know if the tire went down first or that's the cause of him hitting the wall, but definitely right front tire is down. Oh yeah, that looks to me like the right front tire went down.
Definitely tire.
Hey Larry, we've been hearing Stenhouse complain about being on the splitter. What do you think about that?
Well, let's go to our Ford Performance Cutaway car. In this year, in 2019, I spoke earlier about how big the front splitter is. And on low air pressures, basically this whole part that's yellow right there, it was bottoming out on the racetrack, and it was making the tires, the front wheels, light. And he was turning the wheel, but the front tires weren't digging into the racetrack. And it's even more critical this year because that splitter is so much bigger this year versus last year.
Well, as fast as these cars are traveling here at Dover, a hit like that, you really feel that impact.
Yeah, it's at the highest point of speed, and enter that corner, that right front goes down. It goes straight right into the wall.
Ricky said on the radio that was a big hit. Let's see. The free pass car will be Denny Hamlin. Matt DiBenedetto stayed on the lead lap. He had earlier had to serve a penalty for over the wall too soon on the pit stop at lap 42. Here they come, Matt.
And Clint Boyer will pull around his teammate, the 4 of Kevin Harvick. He still has his hands full slightly, the car on the tight side. Meanwhile, Harvick pulls into his box gently. An air pressure adjustment on the 4. He felt like they made some good headway, headed in the right direction, but he still needs some center turn from center to exit, Jamie.
Kyle Larson in the 42, he's been in the top 3 all race long. It's still a little bit tight loading and tight landing, so they'll free him up a little bit. There's that adjustment in a 4-tire stop, Vince.
You see the 22 of Joey Logano pitted from 3rd, says it's just still building a little bit tight. Right sides only. As for the 9 of Chase Elliott, calling for an air pressure adjustment in 4 tires. He just needs a little bit of security, a little too free. We see those 2 tires allow Logano to be the first one off pit road.
Well, Kyle Larson did not get a good launch out of the concrete in his pit box. And you see him dropping 3 spots on that one. Due in part to Logano and Byron taking only 2 tires. Joey Logano with just a 2-tire stop. There is the difference that has put him into the lead for this restart that will come with 10 laps to go in stage 1. He's opposite William Byron, then Chase Elliott and Brad Keselowski. Logano is only the 2nd driver to lead laps here today.
Interesting call. 2 tires. See how that works.
Yeah, and only 10 laps to go to this stage.
That outside, man, it gets such a huge jump over the guys down on the bottom.
Well, especially when you got your teammate Brad Keselowski pushing you from behind.
Well, the 24 had the 9 behind him. He wasn't any help.
Still out there. Bottom's good.
Nice rebound for Byron after a slow pit stop back at the competition caution.
Yeah, Byron, remember, he is another one of those cars along with Joey Logano that took 2 tires. And this really hurt the 9 car of Chase Elliott because he was in that inside lane with those 4 tires and was able to, he lost that spot to the 2 car and the 4 car of Kevin Harvick.
Kyle Larson may have brushed the wall in the back straightaway. Coming up off turn 2, it was very, very close for driver 42. Let's take a look at the top of the frame.
Well, first, the 24 car jumps out there, almost gets the wall, and the 42, boy, it was inches.
I think the right rear might have a smudge.
He touched it.
Wasn't that what you did to him yesterday? Saturday? Smudged it?
Yeah.
Goodness.
See, if we hadn't have done that, he would have been in the wall. So.
Oh, well, okay. Well, Mojo is working. 4th place. Let's check with Larry for today's Duracell Driving Trust.
Yeah, let's take a look at William Byron in that 2014. Talked to him under the pace lap. It's his 2nd full-time season in the Monster Energy Cup Series. He won championships in the K&N East Series in 2015, Xfinity Series in 17. In 2019, Rick Hendrick decided to put veteran crew chief Chad Canals with this young 21-year-old. Chad has 7 championships, 81 Cup wins, and as documented, 11 wins at Dover. I'd say that gives William Byron a little bit of Duracell Driving Trust, and caution's out, Mike.
That he has, Larry. I watched Quinn Houff between turns 1 and 2. The car just sailed up to the wall as if he might have cut a right front tire. Made a pretty good amount of impact and then settled down here to the apron.
It sure has all the indications that it was right front tire the way the car turned. You see that tire's soft.
And I'm not so sure they came down pit road and put tires on that under that last caution.
Aspire Motorsports entry and the young short tracker from Virginia bringing out the 3rd caution flag of the day here. And it looks like this time Chris Buescher just might get the free pass and get back on the lead lap.
You know, guys, it's going to be borderline getting this thing back going. The only thing they could do is call a quickie yellow, which means everyone could pit when pit road is open, but at most we're going to have about a 1-lap shootout. It's going to be real borderline, though.
Larry, is it a possibility they don't even open pit road?
It's open. It's open this time.
Then
yeah, it's open this time.
Thank you. That's not a possibility.
No, Mike.
No, that would not be.
And it is a quickie yellow, which means everyone can pit, whether you're on the lead lap or a lap down.
Well, this is
most of the leaders will stay out.
Yeah, Larry, I was going to say this might be interesting to see some of those further back come down pit road, get tires. We see Kurt Busch is one of those takers, and then they'll stay out when this stage is over.
That's right. These cars on pit road now will be the cars restarting up front for stage 2.
Kurt Busch.
Be a good call.
Yeah, Kurt Busch, that's a good call. And also the 11 car Hamlin, Ryan Newman.
Ty Dillon and Daniel Hemrick. Should be 1 to go when they get back to the line, and that will give us 1 lap to race in stage 1. We've done this before. This fall, Fox becomes the new network home of WWE's SmackDown Live. Catch all the action every Friday night beginning October 4th. Only on Fox. Let's check in on your Koch family of drivers and see how they're faring today. Joey Logano is your race leader. Kyle Larson 8th. Daniel Suarez 13th. Austin Dillon and Denny Hamlin on the lead lap, as is Ryan Newman. Bubba Wallace is in the free pass position right now, 1 down.
Now I'm going to say with only a couple laps here to go, and Larry, I'd love to bring Larry in on this. I mean, even if when this stage is over, these guys are up front here, other than maybe those that took 2, these guys that took 4 up front, they're going to stay out. Is that right, Larry? You feel that way?
I would think, Jeff, because, you know, with this caution, we only had 5 laps on the tires when this caution came out. So I think Logano and William Byron, I think they're going to be forced to pit, Jeff, because of only doing 2 tires. But, you know, it was a no-brainer for those drivers that pitted right there, and we're going to get back started with 1 to go. But, yeah, don't abuse the tires for 1 lap, and you stay out at the end of this caution.
That's it, Larry. If I'm one of those drivers that stopped, I'm not even going to put any heat in my tires under green. I'm going to kind of coast around here to the stage-ending caution flag and get ready to line up for stage 2.
Well, now we're going to have a bit of the opposite type of lineup here as we had the last time. Now you got Brad Keselowski's on the inside, Kevin Harvick's on the inside, and now you've got the 9 of Chase Elliott and the 24 William Byron in that outside lane.
Daniel Hemrick took the wave around on the last caution, so that puts him in position back on the lead lap for a good end of stage 1. Eric Jones right now is the 10th place car looking for stage points. And Joey Logano looking for a stage win. They're going to race 1 lap to the green and white checker.
This ought to be interesting and entertaining.
Here we go.
See Larson rewind to the outside of William Byron, going to make up some spots.
And look at the launch he gets. He's going to steam past Kevin Harvick up into 4th place, entering turn 3.
A nice job of Brad Keselowski being able to jump up in front of the 9 of Chase Elliott into 2nd.
Logano to win the stage, then Keselowski, Elliott, and Larson prevails for 4th. Kyle Busch gets the final stage point. Stage 1 complete. Joey Logano's 5th stage win of the year, tied with Kyle Busch for most stage wins. It's here and it's available today at your local Chevy dealer. The all-new Silverado. The strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. 123 laps complete. Stage 1 ends with the first 18 drivers being those who did not stop on the caution for Quinn Houff at lap 115. And the free pass car at the end of stage 1 will be David Reagan. He'll get back up on the lead lap, so we'll restart with 26 lead lap cars. Notably, William Byron was 8th before making that two-tire stop and net gain of 2 positions. He is 6th in the running order right now. Joey Logano's led more laps at Dover today than in his prior 20 starts here combined.
Wow, that's crazy.
16 laps.
As good as Joey Logano is, this has just not been one of his favorite tracks, or at least hasn't been the results of the track.
Look at only Logano among the front 7 comes to pit road.
Some fakes were thrown, but William Byron, they were for sure coming, going for 4 tires this time. What a great job he's done. Impressive, holding on to that excessively free race car. Chassis adjustment already completed, trying to tighten him up for the next run. Mike?
That is a lonely group on pit road. It's just Logano, Byron, and 2 more, Vince.
Well, it's going to be a wedge adjustment for Joey Logano, and 4 tires was way too tight after they took those 2 tires, so they're going to fix him up. As mentioned, 4 tires in wedge for Logano, the only one to lead today other than Chase Elliott. Clean stop, and there's that chassis adjustment, taking a little extra time.
So only 2 lead lap cars stop. Larry, you surprised?
No, they were in a box, though, Mike, because they were the only 2 that had changed just 2 tires earlier. Everyone else pitted on that last caution or the caution before, so the most laps anybody had was 6 laps. Not a bit surprised.
I'll dial up our stage 1 winner. Hey, Joey Logano, Jeff and the guys up in the Fox Sports booth. You got me?
Loud and clear. How are you?
Well, I'm pretty good. Not as good as you. Congrats on that stage 1 win. But I'm gonna take a little bit different route here. We got a bunch of fans that came out here on a Monday, and you did something yesterday when this race was canceled and postponed until today, that you went out there in the rain and signed autographs for these fans. What inspired you to do that?
I was able to do that one time before the rain delay in Daytona, and it was a really cool experience to see everybody. And you know, we got so many diehard fans that come out to watch our races, and I felt bad. They're all sitting out there in the rain, and chances were they weren't going to get to see a race yesterday. So least we can do is go out there and sign some autographs, say hello, say thank you, and put on a good race today for them.
Well, we all thought that was super cool, so thank you for doing that. I'm sure the fans thank you, and good luck the rest of this way.
Thank you. We're going to need to get back through this field. There's a lot of cars in front of me now.
I was going to bring it up, but I thought I wouldn't.
That was so hard yesterday, leaving the track, watching the folks, cold, wet, disappointed, that had to go home and be at work today. Hopefully some of you have a chance to watch us as Joey Logano has won stage 1. 128 laps complete in Delaware. Brad Keselowski's Ford in front of Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson's Chevrolets. First Toyota is Eric Jones in 7th place. We're going to restart to begin stage 2 with 26 cars on the lead lap, including David Reagan, who got the free pass.
You know, Mike, not too physically demanding. So 428 laps. We've had the stage breaks, a couple of cautions. The drivers had a chance to catch their breath. Saving a little something for the end here. When the end gets here.
And it's a ways out there.
Kevin Harvick will roll off 4th. Kyle Larson 3rd. Clint Boyer 8th. And there's Ty Dillon 18th as they roll into the Geico restart zone for stage 2.
Kevin Harvick's going to work really hard to try to get to the quarter panel, that 9, but doesn't get that opportunity. Chase Elliott able to carry good speed around the bottom.
Logano went 3 wide to make 1 pass in turn 2. Going to try it again up in turn 4. And here comes Blaney to the outside of Alex Bowman for 5th place. Boy, look at Logano work the top.
That's a gaggle. Woo!
Fast race car, 4 fresh tires. Whoa, 4, 5 wide.
Goodness gracious.
That won't work here.
They figured that out in an instant.
Jamie?
Well, just to update Denny Hamlin, it has been a struggle so far this race. Remember, he was really loose early on, and then Larry noted that on that stop on lap 108, he made a right rear shock adjustment. Guys went underneath the car to help him. Well, that went too far, too tight. So on the last stop, he came in a wedge adjustment. He's having a hard time keeping his head in. He's pretty frustrated.
Thanks, Jamie. The 2 drivers that stopped, William Byron and Joey Logano. Byron's only gained 1 spot since the restart. Logano has already picked up 5.
Yeah, Logano chose the outside of the 24. William Byron seemed to favor that inside lane. He comes up on Daniel Hemrick. Now, see, to me, that's a product of this racetrack sometimes where you lose the nose of the car with the aerodynamics of that car in front of you, but then it snaps loose as you come up off the banking.
Yeah, we've seen that 24 car sideways a couple of times, done a nice job of catching it. So those quick hands, those young hands, stay on top of the wheel.
Saw a little wiggle right there out of the back of the 24. Looks like his car getting in the corner and on the exit of the corner might be a little bit too free.
The fight for the free pass is intense. Ryan Preece in the 47, Bubba Wallace in the 43 were battling for it, and look at the contact there. Preece has since been able to drive away from Bubba. Corey LaJoie in the picture, although a little further back.
Kind of reminded me of the Kentucky Derby the other night.
Didn't it?
A little juking and jiving going on.
A lot of the drivers tweeted about the Derby finish. Most of them said, "Rubbin is racing." Monday on FS1. Well, we held over a couple of Sunday crank it ups for you for today.
Nice and easy. 355. Last lap was a 04. Like I said, he beat you through the middle. You beat him on the exit. Basically, 18's lifting earlier. We got back to gas a little sooner. Waiting on her on exit.
Yeah, I was really surprised.
Full tight. Run up 15 behind you. 5-car link gap. You're all good there. Here comes the big run. Stalled 1.5. He's moved 50%, turns down at the 2/3.
Chase Elliott has run down Brad Keselowski for the lead.
And Mike Chase is really dominant in the corner. He's going in low, letting the car wash way up in the middle of the corner. And he gets a whale of a run off of turn 4, really fast off 4.
Meanwhile, the third place car may have an issue, Matt.
Mike, a concern with Kevin Harvick a few moments ago. He came on the radio, told his team, I think I have a loose wheel. The guys put the helmets on. They're on the wall at the ready. Rodney Childers, his crew chief, told him to ride it out to see if indeed that's what we have, because if we pit, we'll for sure lose 2 laps. And he hasn't said anything yet, so they feel like they're going to be okay.
Larry, was that a big concern for crew chiefs coming into this weekend?
Mike, it was, and if you remember, we talked about this on our Fox conference call last Tuesday. Go back to where we were about a month ago at Bristol Motor Speedway. Another concrete racetrack with high banks with a lot of loads, and it seems like at those 2 tracks with the loads that these drivers are going through in these race cars, it's always a concern about having a loose wheel, especially when you're trying to change 4 tires in about 12 or 13 seconds.
Yeah, throughout this race so far, I felt like the 4 car of Kevin Harvick was one of the best race cars. So him being up front, I was anxious to see if he could stay in the tire tracks of the 9 of Chase Elliott and the 2 of Keselowski. So obviously that tire is causing him a little bit of issues right now.
Well, they're about halfway through a fuel run. We'll see how this plays out. Brad Keselowski leading Chase Elliott by half a second. Kevin Harvick in third. Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman are the top 5. There's our top running Toyota, Kyle Busch. There's today's Toyota top performers. Kyle's got quite a string going here of top 10 finishes to start the season. 10 trying today to match the all-time record, and Morgan Shepherd was driving for Bud Moore when he set that record in 1990. Kyle could tie it today.
When you think of all the different types of racetracks we've gone to already, other than a road course, we've been on every shape, size, banking. That's a tough thing to accomplish, and just goes to show you how strong that team is and what kind of a race car driver Kyle Busch is.
But, you know, I think about Morgan Shepherd, and Bud Moore's car was, I mean, it was so dependable. And Morgan was a guy that knew you had to finish to put bread on the table. If you wanted to eat meat and potatoes, you had to finish the race. And that's why I think those two really put that streak together and did as well as they did.
It's quite a record. Here's a race for 19th. Kurt Busch, Ryan Newman, William Byron, Denny Hamlin.
You know, Logano and Byron haven't made a lot of progress up to 20th. Logano just ahead of him there, but that traffic and coming off pit road after those 4 tires put those guys in a bind.
Yeah, if we go on a really long run here, then you might start to see those 4 fresher tires and these grooves widen out. They might start making some progress, but riding on board here with Kevin Harvick, we talked about him maybe having a loose wheel. That's obviously gone away. He might even make a pass here on the 9 of Chase Elliott. Whatever he was feeling, it's either leveled out or hasn't gotten any worse, so he started putting those lap times back together.
You know, I think a lot of times, Mike, during the race, the concrete, again, I know I speak of the expansion joints in this concrete, but it creates a chatter in the tires sometimes. Kevin may have felt that for a lap or two and had to realize what it was and reevaluate whether he had a loose wheel or not, because he is closing up on the back of Chase Hill here. Matter of fact, I think he's going to make a pass.
So does that change as there's Harvick to the inside of the second place car, as the track takes rubber, and then as that rubber gets picked back up during caution periods, does that feel change?
I think what changes is the air pressure in the tires. When the tires are low, they feel one way. When the pressure builds up, particularly if they build up a lot, then the car feels a little bit different to you. So the concrete racetrack creates a lot of tire buildup, a lot of tire pressure buildup in the race.
And sometimes when you run for a short period of time on fresh tires and then they are hot and they get built up with rubber, sometimes it'll feel like a vibration, like a wheel's vibrating. A little bump and run there by the 88 of Alex Bowman to Kyle Larson as he goes to the outside.
Wow.
4th place.
That's aggressive.
And that's impressive. Bowman, remember, he started all the way in the back, and he's passing one of the fastest cars out there, so they're having a good day.
Hello, I'm here. Excuse me, coming through. Thank you.
Did you say aggressive or impressive?
Both.
Well,
okay.
He was aggressive and not reckon the 42 was impressive.
But it did the job. Look at Kyle Larson on the next straightaway set. Go right ahead.
So Joey Logano plus 6 positions since the restart. William Byron plus 5.
But just Mike, again, to show you pits and track position, all that, he came in as a leader. The 22 car did, and you see where he is now. I mean, he's hung back here in 17th place. Still got a fast race car, but got a lot of work to do. Vance.
You know, they do indeed have a fast car, and they had some extra confidence coming in this weekend, maybe that they haven't had in previous years coming to Dover. They feel like that they've just got a better understanding, he and crew chief Todd Gordon, of what it takes to be good here. And he feels like they really learned something here last fall, had a good run, and they felt like they unloaded better this weekend, and that's been key to where they are right now.
2nd place is the battle.
As these leaders have gotten into lap traffic, you can see it's allowed others to really close that gap, like Kevin Harvick. But also, if you look right behind Kevin Harvick, Bowman's coming into the picture, and in a few more laps, Larson might be there too.
Now, Bowman is really closing in a hurry here. Got a pretty good race car right now.
How about Alex Bowman's day after he was penalized for failing inspection and started way in the back?
But you know what I like? I mean, I'd like to see my portfolio look like that.
Yes.
It hadn't looked that way in
That
years.
is trending upward.
But remember, I mean, that kid finished 2nd last week. That's a huge confidence booster to him and that team. I think that's really what he needed. He needed a boost, and that last week might be just what it took.
Kozlowski's opened it up now to 3/4 of a second.
Kozlowski's going to probably try to show us one of those trick pit stops here where he turns around backwards into his pit pocket.
Can you believe that? At Talladega.
I can't believe it. I still can't believe it. What I can't believe even more is that he said he could do it 7 more out of 10 times if he had to.
That's what I could. Now, come on, man. Give me a break.
Denny Hamlin gets past Ryan Newman as they battle for 21st. They're both back on the lead lap now.
Now, Denny Hamlin's car is looking a lot better. Whatever adjustments they made on that last pit stop, as Jamie was mentioning, that it's obviously improved the car dramatically now. Now he's got a car. If he can just stay on this lead lap, now he's got a car that he might be able to move forward.
Well, before Larry opens the pit window, let's take a break from Dover. 166 on the board.
Dover is probably the hardest place on the schedule to get on and off pit road under green. It's just a very challenging, slick apron. You got to stay on the banking till the last minute and then hope that you can kind of get off and peel off to the apron, not lock up the tires and miss pit road. Dover is probably the hardest place on the schedule to get on and off pit road under green. It's just a very challenging, slick apron. You got to stay on the banking till the last minute and then hope that you can kind of get off and peel off to the apron, not lock up the tires and miss pit road.
So the 16 drivers that all stopped at lap 107 are due on pit road in about the next 25 laps or so, and they are in the top 16 positions.
And we've been talking all day about how pit road is going to be the game changer, but we're not just talking about the pit crew on pit road. It's these drivers getting on to pit road, and I agree with Eric Almirola. This is the hardest track to do it right.
Fourteenth place.
Daniel Suarez working on his top 10 here at Dover.
Yeah,
he likes this track.
He just got around the 3 car there, Dylan, and doesn't have it. His car looks pretty decent right now. 14th.
Alex Bowman just went past Kevin Harvick into the corner for 3rd place, like heaven was stopped.
I tell you, that 88 car is on. He's on a rail right now. He's going somewhere.
This is a career day for Alex Bowman right here. I mean, he's not had the best start to the season. You go back to that race he had at Phoenix a couple years ago when he performed so well, and everybody said Alex Bowman needs to be the replacement for Dale Earnhardt Jr., and it just hasn't gone that well. But boy, today, man, he is on fire. You could hear Harvick get out of the throttle right there. So we talked about Harvick having that tight condition through the center. It sounds to me like they're still going to be able to need to make some more adjustments on Kevin Harvick's car to get him through the center of the corner.
I bet you that 9 car doesn't put up a real tough battle right here, because he knows that Bowman's got a fast car, so why hold him up?
Well, the other thing that the 9 car of Chase Elliott has in his back pocket is that #1 pit stall that he can take advantage of when pit stops do happen, if they happen under caution.
Vince?
Well, Chase Elliott just told crew chief Alan Gustafson, he said, I don't know what to tell you that I need. It feels pretty good. That last adjustment, which is the only adjustment they've made, which was air pressure, helped the car and the handling because he was just a tick free. So right now they're pretty pleased with the way the car's rolling.
Brad Keselowski, boy, those Chevys are just about to catch him here.
Venture to say that both might be the best of the 3 behind you. Just like I told you earlier, he's very patient, showing the least amount of concrete in the center of the corner. Wrapping it super tight. You're all clear.
Spotter Coleman Presley to Brad Keselowski.
Boy, I see that 88 car. One thing he can do better, and I think the other 2 cars in front of him, he can get down in that corner.
Martin Truex begins the march to pit road under green. Last in at lap 107.
Such a risky place to be the first car on pit road, because you lose so much time here on this 35-mile-per-hour pit lane. The 9 car, second place Chase Elliott now on pit road.
88 coming in.
88 as well.
Bunch of front runners.
Matt?
And Truex was the first one to open that door. Others will follow. They don't want to lose that much track position. No chassis adjustments expected here on the 88. They have really dialed that car into the ball game. Going around the left side, the 2 of Brad Keselowski. He'd been very consistent, but this run, the car was going away in the middle of the corner, especially on exit, Vince. It was on the tight side.
Working the right side, now the crew over to the left side. No changes, just the 4 tires and gas for Chase Elliott.
Kyle Busch moves up to second behind Kevin Harvick by 4 seconds.
Harvick's in.
Harvick, Jimmy Johnson. A lot of shuffling here on pit road, and Kyle Busch picks up the lead, becomes the 4th different leader today. Almirola finishing up on the left sides. So now just Kyle Busch, Matt DiBenedetto still on track without making a stop. And here's Kyle. Jamie?
Well, Kyle was really tight early on, but they got the car a little bit better, worked his way into the top 10. Says he's tight all the way through the corner this time, so they'll adjust accordingly. And a 4th tire stop. There is the track bar adjustment for the 18.
So we cycle around to the 2 drivers that went off sequence with 2 tire stops earlier, William Byron and Joey Logano. 1-2.
And if you look right here in this picture, the 2 car Brad Keselowski, remember, he waited an extra lap to come to pit road. That 9 car Chase Elliott was able to get back in front of the 2, so if this thing cycles out, he will be your leader if the caution doesn't come out. We bring Byron and Logano and Kurt Busch, some of those others down pit road.
But if they get a caution, Larry, they could pin all but the first 7 cars a lap down.
Well, I think Joey Logano's on pit road now in that 22 car, but you're right. They can go another 10 to 15 laps, Mike, but they're giving up a lot of time on the stopwatch.
See if Chad Knaus brings his young driver. Not this time.
Well, the 24 is loose. Okay.
But he is the leader, and right now he is the first of 7 cars on the lead lap. On the radio, they're telling Byron, give me 2 more laps.
And I say the 24 is loose. I remember when Jimmy Johnson drove for Chad. I never saw anybody that can hang on to a loose car like Jimmy Johnson could, and that's what made that car so fast. This young man here, he might have to learn to hang on to that loose car.
Well, you can be assured that crew chief Chad Knaus is pushing him to learn it.
Got it.
He'll be in next time.
Nice and smooth.
That will leave only Daniel Hemrick and Michael McDowell out there along with David Reagan.
There's your distance back to Chase Elliott. She goes by.
24's in, but Jeff, he gave up a ton of time getting on pit road. And we got down the apron early. Not going to make a mistake. Driver isn't, but he gave up a lot of time.
There's such a balance between being smooth and getting on the pit road without making mistakes, but not being aggressive enough and losing a lot of time, to your point there, DW.
So Daniel Hemrick did also pit, and that will leave just Michael McDowell, the new race leader, on the racetrack without having made a stop, and now he's in.
But Mike, in Byron's defense, he's a young man. He's got a fast car. He started on the front row. He's got great crew chief checking out. He doesn't want to be the guy that makes some mistake and takes him out of this race. So he was being cautious, but I think it was the right thing to do.
And for the front row cars, Michael McDowell and David Reagan, their best opportunity to guarantee themselves a good finish. Stay out as long as you can and try to catch that caution.
Stretch it.
And I love this shot from the visor camera. It shows you this really is a roller coaster ride of a racetrack. How you drop down, slam into that banking, how rough this concrete is, and how long these corners are.
Second place, Alex Bowman, Brad Kozlowski, just kind of where we left off almost before pit stops.
That 88 car.
This 6 car is going to really make a big impact on the progress of that 2 car trying to get by Ryan Newman.
I think Bowman wasn't sure. He was going to go by on the outside. He said, that's Ryan Newman. I think I'll wait.
I think it was a good decision
because
it was
a great decision.
That was going to squeeze him into the wall.
You've got 208 laps to make a different decision. If you make the right one right there.
You make the wrong one right there, you're going to pay for it all the rest that day too.
Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman. They were a little closer last Sunday on the last lap at Talladega, but they were in the same positions. 1-2.
And I think we talked about that's Talladega, our biggest racetrack. Now we're at a 1 mile concrete oval. I believe it's safe to say that the Hendrick cars and the Chevrolets in general have gotten their cars where they need to be now. I don't believe we can blame their lack of performance on anything. Now it's just going out on the racetrack and getting a result.
Fifth place, Kyle Larson. Martin Truex, who is the race's leading Toyota, now moves up into the top 5. Closing in on the end of stage 2 with 205 laps to go in Dover. We'll take you side by side. Welcome back to Dover. The Gander RV 400 has just passed the halfway mark. 81 of 120 in stage 2. 39 laps to go there. Let's go 3 wide, sponsored by John Deere. Chase Elliott, your race leader, looking to go back-to-back with Talladega. Kyle Larson having a great run and certainly needed one, and Eric Jones trying to hang on to that final spot in this stage.
Bunch of young men right there. Well, Chase probably, I guess Larson will be the oldest. Chase, Jones are young guys.
Yeah, all these guys under the age of 30. It's a young group of talented race car drivers out there right now, and one of them showing the way.
But I always kind of laugh when I hear, you're exactly right. But the other guy that's under 30 that is very impressive and has a championship under his belt now, Joey Logano.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
He's been around so long we don't think about it.
And I've been predicting for the last couple of years that we're going to have a champion under 30, and finally Joey Logano pulled it off.
And I tell you what, he and Todd Gordon and really Roger Penske, that whole group, I love the way they're representing our sport. I mean, you know, Joey comes in the grandstand yesterday and signs autographs. They go to the White House and represent our sport in a first-class manner. I mean, they really look good up there. And I think they're a concerted effort on these guys' parts to be good champions.
That's right. Joey Logano, Todd Gordon, Roger Penske, and their team were honored by the president at the White House last week. Gave the president a replica of the NASCAR Cup trophy that he said he'd find a spot for in the Oval Office. That is just pretty cool on any level. And come here right now in the top 15 and trying to close. Now, Elliott the leader, Bowman second, and the first Ford is Brad Keselowski, who's currently third, Larry.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about their last pit stop. They pitted with 58 to go in this stage right here. So the fuel window's about 80 to 86 laps, but watch this fueler right here as he puts a second can in. Look at all the fuel that's running out right there. They didn't have to get it completely full, but I'm questioning, do they have enough to go 58 laps to the end of this stage? A lot of fuel.
No, that was huge,
not
Larry.
going in that car.
Oh, it was all running out of that can, Larry. I don't think much went in the car at all. That second can.
In it. It's almost like a weld broke there in the vent tube where it meets the can. But he did keep the can engaged and the fuel flowing, but as Larry points out, that wasn't his primary concern right that minute.
Well, we know it can't be full because too much of that fuel ran out of that can. So the question is, how far can they go now?
And here comes Truex.
Yeah, don't count Martin Truex Jr. out. We are at Dover. This is like a home race for him. He won his first race here, runs extremely well here, and they are making their way right into this thing.
Yeah, on Saturday I just saw that car. It looked really, really good and consistent.
All right, let's check further on the Keselowski fuel situation with Matt.
Good observation by Larry Mack, but they feel like that they are going to be able to inch it to the finish of this stage on fuel. They're not going to have a lot extra, but they feel like they've got enough to make it to the end of the stage at this juncture.
You know, Matt and Larry, what I'm very curious, how do they even measure? They know they have one can. Okay, so we know we have one can, but I can't say they got much of that second can. So how much does it take, Larry, to get to the end of this stage?
Yeah, again, the fuel window is 80 to 86 laps. They are trying to go about 58 laps, so they needed about a can and a third, close to a can and a half. I'm like you. I don't know how you measure fuel when that much is on the ground.
No, but I feel pretty. Look, they weigh the cans. That's how they know how much fuel's in the can. That's how much they know when they empty the can. They kind of look at what they got of that second can. If they got everything in there but what they spilled, I think they're fine.
Yeah, who weighs how much is on the pavement or the concrete down there?
The guy was trying to put his hand over it. How much weight is on that scale?
They're going to weigh his driver's suit and how much fuel soaked into it.
The fueler.
Yeah, the fueler. Sorry, driver.
Well, it's not a science, you know.
It's a theory.
It could be a theory.
And you better weigh it before it evaporates on that concrete.
That too.
Y'all are not helping me.
26, stick to the weather, Darrell. 26 laps to go in stage 2. Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, half a second apart. Harvick, Keselowski, Truex, the top 5. 2 Chevys, 2 Fords, and Martin Truex trying to move up into the front 4 here.
Well, one thing I noticed about Martin Truex Jr.'s car right there, you saw how much fast that car rolled through the center. His car's loose on entry, loose on exit, especially around other cars, but I haven't seen another car that rolls through the center of the corner as good as Martin Truex Jr.
I don't know how they run this track now, but I used to drive in, get off the gas, let it roll a bit, get back in the gas, get off the gas, and come off the corner. Kind of broke it up into 3 parts.
Well, what I love about watching a race here is you can tell which cars are handling. They're the ones right around down the bottom. You can tell which drivers are searching. They'll try the high groove 1 lap, they'll try the middle 1 lap, and they'll hunt around until they find a groove that the stopwatch likes. And then you can tell the fellas that just wish this track was 40 feet wider than it is. And they just can't wait to get on pit road.
And you know the ones I worry about, Mike, are the ones I can't see, and I wonder how hard they're driving. These races are they're grueling and they're physically demanding. I want to know if anybody's saving anything or not.
Let's find out about our leader who's led 135 laps today, Vince.
Well, and the only adjustment they've made is an air pressure adjustment all day long. It's been spot on for crew chief Alan Gustafson. By the way, it's just a real blessing that Gustafson is even here. On Friday, he was on a bicycle ride with Jimmy Johnson and a couple of others, and they were hit by a dog, and Gustafson was launched from his bike and hit the pavement at 25 mile an hour head first. It destroyed his bicycle helmet, road rash across his face, his nose, heavy damage, took a lot of road rash down the right side and his back. A very serious cycling accident, and very fortunate that Alan Gustafson is even here today, and he was counting his blessings, that's for sure.
Wow. Mike, that's why I don't ride bikes. Road rash.
It's a great way to get outside and exercise, but it can be dangerous, as Alan Gustafson found out.
Alex Bowman is right there. That's how close he was last week at Talladega on the final circuit.
He said he could have passed Chase if the caution hadn't come out last week. Well, now you got a chance to do it today, so go ahead.
And that was a heads-up move by Chase Elliott right there. He saw Alex Bowman was getting a run on him as Chase is trying to get by the lap car and the 3 car of Austin Dillon. And he knew that if he just moved up and blocked the air onto that 88 car, it was going to prevent his or slow down his momentum. It did just that.
Matt?
Great observation by Jeff, Mike, on what just happened between the 9, changing up his line on the 88. Alex trying to go even higher. He said this run, his car started out much tighter on the front, losing that nose. It has come in a little bit, but he's still working over the 9 for that lead.
Alex Bowman on the high side. His car works well up there and gets a launch. Harvick has the best view of this battle for the lead.
Harvick says, y'all just go right ahead because I'm going to slip by both of you here while you're playing around.
New leader, Alex Bowman. What a run he has had today coming from the back. Actually, I think 2 of our top 4 cars, Truex and the 88 of Bowman, both came from the back.
But now they're going to have to battle every car because with only 17 laps to go in the stage, nobody wants to fall off the lead lap.
And I said that the 3 car of Austin Dillon was a lap car. He's not a lap car yet. He's battling to try to stay on that lead lap. Harvick going by the 9 of Chase Elliott.
Alex Bowman looking for his first Cup Series stage win.
Has never won a stage.
Yet.
Putting himself in a pretty good position to do that today.
Well, we had Ty Dillon win one a few weeks ago, and he quickly picked up a second.
Yep.
Well, right now, Alex Bowman, he's checking out. He got by the 3 of Austin Dillon. Those other guys, the 4 of Harvick and the 9 of Chase Elliott. Now the Truex is coming into the mix. They still are fighting to get by the 3 car of Austin Dillon.
4 cars within a second and a half for the lead.
You know who's enjoying this is Alex Bowman, obviously, and his team. But you know who another guy probably at home really enjoying this? A guy named Dale Jr. He's probably saying, that's my boy right there. That's the guy I wanted to drive my car.
Yeah, he had a lot to do with getting Alex Bowman behind the wheel of that 88 car full time.
Bowman had been in the series for a couple of years on and off before being tapped by Dale Jr. and by the Hendrick organization. In fact, a lot of folks, when he climbed into the 88, thought he was a rookie because he hadn't attracted much notice with the rides that he'd been in. But they're noticing him today as he's about to put a lap on Kurt Busch, Jamie.
And Kurt Busch hasn't had the best car today. He said, basically, I can't be aggressive. I have to wait for others to make mistakes. But they've been working on it. And he said this run, it's a little bit loose throughout the corner, but it's the best it's felt. But you know he's got to be pretty hot now, knowing he just went a lap down to the 88.
Well, I tell you, Bowman's having a little trouble here getting around Kurt Busch, and a couple other cars on the have impeded his progress because the 4 car of Kevin Harvick is right on his back door.
Well, you know that this stage is coming to an end. There's only 10 laps to go. So if you're about to go a lap down, you're going to fight that leader extremely hard. But once you lose that lap, you kind of make it a little easier on those guys that are behind him. So you'll see those gaps really decrease to the leader because of it.
I think Kevin Harvick wants to help Alex Bowman keep his record intact.
Of never winning a stage? Thank goodness. Pretty good gap now. More than half a second, Bowman to Harvick with 9 to go in the stage.
Put a lot of traffic, and boy, a guy that's just watching this is another eager beaver is that 19 car. Martin Truex, he's up to 3rd place and got these 2 leaders in his sights.
Now remember, he and Bowman started in the back under penalty at the start of this race. And Chase Elliott, who's led 141 laps, more than anyone else today, currently 4th. Most he's ever led in a Cup race. Brad Keselowski 5th. And Harvick is there. 7 to go in stage 2.
He's got him.
Well, look at how good Harvick's car rolls through the center. I think Alex Bowman's car works a little bit better up top, but he's trying to get this stage win. So he's trying to run the same lane as the 4 of Kevin Harvick, not having as much success, and he's coming up on lap traffic, heavy lap traffic.
Yeah, this lap cars are going to be a factor for sure.
David Reagan going 2 down. Reed Sorensen and Paul Menard trying to stay on the lead lap.
Here he comes.
Yeah,
the 4 got a run on him.
88 of Bowman can't close up on the 21 Paul Menard. Really lost the air off the
look
nose
at
of the
Bowman
car.
launch into 3.
Oh, he sailed that baby off into 3. That's no question about that. Can he hang on to it off 4? He did.
Still got it.
But a guy that's right here knocking on the doors at 19 of Martin Truex Jr., he's in the picture.
5 to go, stage 2.
Boy, that 19 is coming fast. He's going to get around Harvick, I believe.
Bowman prefers the top side. Harvick likes the bottom.
And right here they come together briefly.
Saw the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. got a little bit in the wake of the air coming off that 4 car of Kevin Harvick and lost a little bit of his momentum. I still think he's got the best car through the center of the corner of anybody out there.
And you know who else thinks that? Kevin Harvick, because he just let it. I just think he dropped down a little bit and let him go. Maybe you can get him. I couldn't.
Tell you, if this stage went another 15 laps or so, they would lap Joey Logano and William Byron.
You don't think these stage wins mean something to these guys and these stage points? They absolutely do, because these guys are battling it out like it's the last lap of the race.
Truex with a run.
If I'm Bowman looking in the mirror, I say, where'd that 19 car come from?
Who's he?
I wasn't racing him.
Top 2 started at the rear of the field. I think maybe I would have wanted to start at the back today.
2 laps to go, stage 2.
Look at that 19 car
Yikes.
roll through the center.
Oh,
wow.
my. He almost ran over him.
Now Harvick has the run. Truex had to hit the brakes out of 2.
Did. Yeah, I think Bowman must have gotten loose or couldn't get back to the gas because 19 closed, baby.
One to go.
Gonna be close.
Bubba Wallace just ahead. Oh, Bowman way up high. Too high.
Oh, no.
Man, he just drove in there too hard, got the back end around. It's not over yet, though.
Nope, he got up and out of the groove, and he's coming back. Can he use Bubba Wallace as a pick?
That 43 car might hold up to 19.
Truex has room underneath, and Martin Truex gets to the flag first.
Well, that was fun.
Did you see that coming? I know Alex Bowman didn't.
And for the final stage point, Eric Jones ahead of Jimmy Johnson.
That's fun right there.
First stage win of 2019 for Mayetta, New Jersey's Martin Truex. The 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup kicks off June 7th. All eyes on Alex Morgan, Carly Lloyd, and the U.S. women's national team as the defending champs head to France looking to win an historic 4th World Cup. And all the matches will be live here on Fox and FS1. So we complete stage 2 with 16 lead lap cars. Paul Menard will be the free pass.
They're getting all that buildup, all that rubber they picked up off the racetrack. They get that off their tires before they come down pit road.
I don't know if there's any other track as bad as this one for picking up that rubber under caution.
I've never seen it before. I remember the first time we saw it, I said, no, it's got to be something. That can't be true. These hot tires, they just pull it right back up off the top of the track.
Martin Truex leads them in, Matt.
Truex, Bowman, and Harvick down pit road. Now Bowman keeping the bigger picture in mind, although disappointed, didn't get the stage win. They're going to make another track bar adjustment, trying to get him more grip. Meanwhile, the 4 of Harvick is in. He's much better entry, the center of the corner. And then looking at the 19, No adjustments on the previous stop for Martin Truex Jr. and air pressure change this time. Vince?
Well, the 9 of Chase Elliott, it wasn't too bad. He said it swung a little free late in the run, so they're going to go a half round down on the track bar. But otherwise, Chase said it was pretty good. It just got edgy in traffic. 4 tires, no other adjustments. He's led the most laps today, but he pitted from the 4th spot. And the battle off pit road is going to be a close one, but Martin Truex Jr. will get it.
Chase Elliott picks up a spot from Harvick, and Ryan Blaney gets one.
See what the 9 did? He stopped.
Yeah, he stopped so that he would be in 4th on that outside lane.
Right here. He'll go right ahead, go right ahead, go right ahead. Okay, now I'll go. Pretty smart, huh?
Little gamesmanship there, you bet.
All right, let's talk to Martin Truex. Hey, Martin Truex Jr., it's DW and the boys up in the Fox booth. You got a copy?
Hey, DW, what's happening?
Man, you are. We were so much enjoying that little battle you had there with the 88 and the 4. That had to be fun. It was fun to watch. How did it look out there?
Yeah, it felt good. It was a lot of fun to be able to get up front and get a stage win. It's been a little while since we've done that. So, Sirius XM camera is really, really good. It just took us a while to get that track position. You know, it's had to start in the back. So, it was pretty tough, but I think it's pretty high, pretty awesome right now. And hopefully we can stay up with this racetrack and see if we can go to victory lane in 200 laps or so, or 180, whatever's left.
Yeah, whatever's left. Hey, do you happen to know anybody that's ever won a race here on Monday?
Yeah, I think the last time we raced on Monday I won here, so that was a lifetime ago. That was my first Cup win, and sure be awesome to get another one here at the Monster.
Looked to me like you got the car to do it, and I know Cole Pern and you got something working, so good luck, buddy.
I appreciate it. You guys have fun up there.
We are. We'll come back and ask a couple other fellows about wins on Monday here. Martin Truex Jr., Stage 2 winner.
I was going to...
Well, let's go back to 2007 and the COT with that wing dang doodle on the trunk, and Martin Truex taking the win, beating Ryan Newman to the line for his first Cup Series victory.
I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but that's the ugliest race car I ever saw with that wing on the back of it. I said it from the first time I ever saw it, and I don't change my mind.
Well, let's have a look at our Xfinity fastest pit stops from that round under caution. Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, top of the chart. Truex in third. Hamlin, Blaney, and Kyle Busch.
And I mean, even as good as that pit stop was on Chase Elliott, I don't think he was going to beat Martin Truex Jr. out. And so he knew that. He didn't want to be in that inside lane and see how that works out for him.
Pretty
but
smart.
he is in the inside lane. What?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Maybe he crossed that. Is the white line?
Yeah.
Oh, the white line is actually the line to line them up on the exit. So he didn't quite get
White
there. He
line
thought it
is
was
the exit line.
Yeah.
Yellow line is the end of pit road speed.
And I wonder if he thought it was that yellow line.
By the time he got the message, he was over that line. I've been there before.
Dare you to step over that line. Now step over this line.
There's a song in there.
Here we go. Truex and Bowman on the front row. Elliott and Harvick. Keselowski and Blaney. Larson and Kyle Busch. Boyer and Jones, the top 10. Hamlin to the top 3 wide.
Don't count my boy Hamlin out. He did what he did. He got a lap down. He got it back, and they've been working on it.
He's still 3 wide.
He'll be in this safe before it's over with. Not sure he's got a winning car, but he's got a good car. Chris Gabehart, his crew chief, pretty sharp kid. They'll figure it out.
Chase Elliott for third underneath Harvick. There he goes. Kyle Busch may have brushed the wall.
When you know Kyle Busch is the kind of guy where when he's having the kind of day that he's having here, he's got a top 10 car, but just hasn't been able to have that winning car. But he'll take a lot of chances on these restarts to make up some spots.
Man, he is headed right for it. Yikes.
Ooh.
Pretty hard lick.
And we know with these bodies on these cars with those flared fenders, when you push it in on those right side tires, doesn't last long before you have an issue.
Jamie.
And Kyle Busch, you guys were talking about how he got the wall. So the team was trying to take a better look at it, and Kyle said it's killed. We're done. We're done. And keep in mind, every time he has run this pedigree paint scheme, something strange has happened, and Kyle wanted to desperately break that. The best finish he's had with this paint scheme, 16.
Yeah, last time I heard Kyle Busch said, we're done, I'm taking it to the garage. They said, bring it down here and let us work on it. It's Talladega. They taped it up, and he won the race. I think I heard his brother say at Martinsville one time, we're done. He fixed it, and they won the race.
To Jamie's point, do they always run this paint scheme in the spring race? That's where he's never had a top 15.
Well, somebody ought to figure that out pretty quick.
Kyle Larson now in 7th.
It just seems like after about the second or third run today, Kyle Larson, he's been good. He's been really good, but he just hasn't quite had enough to be able to go back up there and pass some of those cars to get that track position back.
But after the last 6 races they've had, Jeff, to finish in the top 10 would be a win today.
Just to finish would be a win.
Now, boys, calm down. We got 145 laps to go, so got a ways to go. But I'm telling you, I watched him in practice. I know the car was fast, but I didn't like the way it looked.
Only one Cup driver in history has led more laps here than Kyle Larson and never been to victory lane. Ernie Irvan.
Wow.
Now what a crowd here from 6 seconds on back. Beginning with Denny Hamlin in 10th place. Johnson, Almirola, Logano, and Byron and Suarez all in one big pack. Jamie.
Well, Mike, finally they got the 11 car in the ballpark, but on that pit stop they had an issue. When the rear tire changes, Steven Couches was running around. He rolled over the hose, fell down, hit his right arm, and it it went completely numb. But he got up, continued to finish the pit stop, and sat there on his knees in pain for about 15 seconds. There he is right now, continuing to work, but has a sore right arm.
I know we talk a lot about these drivers and what they have to go through physically on the racetrack and being pretty tough, but nobody is tougher than some of those pit crew members down there changing tires or jacking up these cars or carrying tires.
Unsung heroes, all of them.
Almirola 13th, side by side for 14th. The 2-2 tire boys from earlier.
Just, you know, they need laps. I think they both have very good race cars, you know, good pit crews, and had that track position earlier. They just need to get it back. Suarez doing what he does very well here at Dover. He's just really consistent, stays out of trouble. Oh, the one car of Kurt Busch had a little issue off of turn 4. Vince?
Well, you said it, Suarez, this is the place. Oddly enough, you think that it really takes a lot of great experience to be good here, but Suarez, 4 races here in a Cup car, 4 top 10s. They've had a little trouble finding the sweet spot with it today, though. Several chassis adjustments, track bar on the last stop, trying to get the car drivable for this final stage here for Daniel Suarez. It's been a solid run, but they need a little more here in the last 140 laps.
Thanks, Vince. Alex Bowman has cut Martin Truex's lead in half in about a lap and a half.
Yeah, that happened a little bit, Mike. A little traffic. The 19 car ran up on a car going in turn 1, and that allowed Bowman to close up a little bit. But Bowman's he's still right there. I'm telling you.
The only thing that might hurt the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. here today is he loves that bottom lane. He wants to be right against the apron, and there's a good, if he has to run that. Oh, Hamlin having an issue.
Yeah, he almost stopped high up in turn number 2, Jeff.
Well, I thought I saw some damage on the right rear earlier, like he brushed the wall. I don't think he's going to be able to make it to pit road.
He's got a tire down.
But I think he's got a right rear tire. I saw a little damage there earlier.
I think it's a right side tire.
Missed the entrance to pit lane. 2 more cars, then he can get to the bottom.
Clear low right here, clear low.
You can see where he's had, it might even be a right front. He's got damage just like the 18.
Leaders are coming hard.
Oh, he can't hang on to it.
Nope, it's all done. Caution waves.
Caution.
Right rear tire is down on the car.
I really think that saved the 18 of Kyle Busch from having the exact same issue.
Probably. Come in and at least take a look at it.
This all started down in turn 2. Hamlin way up high.
Yeah, I think
with the tire going down.
I think he either got the wall off of turn 4 a few laps ago, maybe even on the restart. Jamie?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It was about 10 laps ago that he reported that he had gotten the wall, but didn't hear anything about the tire. And of course, 10 laps later, he thinks it cut that tire. As he brings it on down, he saved it. Nice save for the 11.
6th caution of the day. Coming at lap 265. Yeah, a lot of damage there.
A lot of damage. We have to be careful with that hammer, knocking it toward.
Well, especially with that elbow.
Yeah.
You know, but Jamie told us he hurt on the last stop.
If you happen to miss that fender, guess where the hammer goes? Right into your head. I did that one time.
Oh, we got some takers on pit road. Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Jimmy Johnson, Eric Almirola among those taking this pit stop under the 6th caution of the day. Today's aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Win your battles, earn your name. Goodyear, official tire of NASCAR. 133 laps to go. See those campgrounds full. Boy, they got drenched last night, but those fans got to the grandstand and ready to go. Now, Denny Hamlin's been down pit road for damage control. Got that repaired, and also Kyle Busch came to pit road and got the fenders pounded out. Boy, we appreciate all those folks who stayed around to see the Gander RV 400 in person here at Dover, and those of you watching at home on a Monday. Now, I believe both of you have won rain-delayed races on Monday, correct?
Well, I know I have. I'm not sure about him.
When was that? Do you remember?
I think I won more than him.
I don't remember when it was. I wasn't even sure I'd ever won one.
How about where?
Okay, Michigan in '77.
Thank you, Stat Boys. Jeff,
Stat Boys, I'm still waiting.
Jeff, you want to weigh in?
Come on, they can't write fast enough.
They can't write 5 of them fast enough for you, Jeff.
5?
5 times.
Hey, I like Monday.
You were Mr. Monday. Oh. Mark
No wonder
Truex.
I can't remember all those.
Alex Bowman.
You dog.
Elliott and Harvick on row 2. Blaney and Larson. Keselowski and Jones. Boyer and Logano. Kurt Busch got the free pass, so we have 17 lead lap cars. It'll be 131 to go as they take the green.
Oh, not a good start for
88
Alex Bowman.
He didn't get going at all.
But this is, you know, when you don't come down pit road, you pick up all that rubber. Real easy to spin the tires and not get up to speed, and then that outside lane, like we see with Kevin Harvick taking over second, becomes the best lane.
So there's Logano, the 22. He's the first car with new tires.
And look at how fast he's flying by these guys.
Yeah.
You heard the turbo.
It's not even so much about the tires being that much better. It's just you have so much debris on those hot tires.
Well, while the other guy's pedaling, you're not. You're in it.
So Joey Logano jumps to 6th. There's his teammate Ryan Blaney against Brad Keselowski, neither of whom got tires. Boyer did not. Suarez did, along with Kyle Busch.
When you get those tires, Mike, you got to do what they're doing. Take advantage of them.
Early. Yeah, take advantage of them early on those restarts.
Whoa, big trouble. Almost off the 2 over there. Suarez got in the back of the 12 car. It really broke the momentum, but no accident.
But you got 18 of Kyle Busch. He's pulled those fenders out. He's got 4 fresh tires.
And he almost ran over Almirola and had to hit the brake so hard that William Byron almost hit him.
Kyle Busch's fenders are flared, and so are his nostrils. He's going somewhere.
You're at a horse track, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Woohoo! You're getting crazy off turn 2 over there.
And while all this is going on, Mark Truex Jr. stretching out that lead. Man, his car is so good. I really thought as good as his car was on the long run, how good it was turning through the center, that we would see him struggle on the short runs.
Paul Menard just hooked Austin Dillon in turn 2.
He did. Man,
that could have been big.
I don't know. It's like the last 10 laps of the race right now.
Here's a look.
Take a look at this.
Yeah, I think he just lost the air off the nose. The 21 Paul Menard did. Went up the racetrack. The 3 was holding them pretty tight.
See, you know, Mike, it's funny. We talk about air and aero and all that. We talk about aero as if it comes out the same on both sides. When these cars are in yaw, that air comes out a totally different way than when they're going straight.
Yes. Now Ryan Blaney has dropped 5 spots since the restart, Vince.
Says Mike that all of a sudden the car has started shaking really badly, and they talked about possibly pitting. He's going to stay out right now, but he said it has definitely changed for the worse all of a sudden.
I think we heard Harvick mention that earlier, and I got to think it's low air on this concrete racetrack. Just give it a little bit of time, see whether it'll get better or not.
Well, remember, they pick up all that rubber under caution. He did not come in on that last caution. So did he pick some of that up and create a vibration? If it gets worse, he's going to have to bring it down pit road.
William Byron might have got a little bit of the wall there as he battled Daniel Suarez.
Well, he's rim riding up there and certainly got a chance of getting up against it. That's for sure. He's right up there with it.
Watch, you'll see him up there in the Harry Gant groove.
Woo! I mean, he's right to the edge of where the rubber's on the racetrack, and he gets the paint. He got the paint.
A little flaky over there.
And Jeff, he's been four-wheel drifting it. He's been pushing terribly. They just can't get the great balance. Now, Tab Boyd has suggested several times when he starts to really go wicked tight to move around, see if he can find another area of grip, a grip strip, to try to help him until they get to their what could be their last stop. They've got to stop at least one more time.
You know, Maddie, that's a good point, because young driver, not a lot of experience here. I think he's had a couple of runs here. You got to experiment. You got to go where the car needs you to go. Go up high, go down low, do something. You think that was DuPont paint that came off that wall back there?
Maybe Exalta paint.
Exalta, I mean.
Yeah, a local company out of Philadelphia. So this is a kind of a home game for that Exalta Chevrolet on William Byron's car.
Here's Byron's spotter.
Deep breath here. Nice and smooth. Long way to go. You're good. Just remember, we got to finish this.
Well, let's just keep listening. Chad can ask us 5 laps later. He's going to say, let's go. Let's get going.
Martin Truex now has 1.5 seconds on Kevin Harvick. Toyota, Ford, Chevy in the first 3 spots with Bowman and Larson.
Mike, my favorite thing as a driver, always love to use the start-finish line as a point of reference. When Martin Truex comes to the line, and he's coming off 4 now, I want to know that Martin Truex is at the line now, and then that's my point of reference. I know where I am on the racetrack. I know where he is on the racetrack. I know how far behind I am and how far ahead of me he is.
And that pretty well works for any size racetrack?
Anywhere. Oh, yeah. That's just a good point of reference.
Let's check in with our pole sitter, Chase Elliott. 4.2 seconds off the lead now. Third Chevrolet in line behind Bowman and Larson.
Yeah, we had heard earlier they didn't make any adjustments, but Vince, I got to believe they're going to need to make some adjustments if they're going to get back up to the front.
Yeah, Chase said that he felt like it was a little too heavy on the right front, and eventually it began to free up, but he didn't like the feel of the right front, especially early in the run. So I would, Jeff, I would agree. I would look for them to make a change here on this next stop. Remember, and as Matt pointed out, everybody's got to stop at least one more time.
And Mike, Jeff, I think what most drivers worry about is that right front. They know how fast they're going. They know how hard they're driving. They know how hard they're leaning on that right front. That's the first thing that's going to pop in your mind when something doesn't feel exactly right. I got a right front problem. I got a loose wheel. I got something going on.
Now, most everyone today that has brushed the wall has done it coming up out of turn 2. Have the optics of that corner changed since they put the pedestrian bridge over turn number 2, as far as where your track out point is and where you're looking?
No, I mean, I'll be honest. When I was racing here and that bridge came in, I didn't even notice it. You're going so fast, you're so focused on what's out the windshield. It's just you carry so much speed off of these corners that if you lose any bit of grip in the tires, you're right there, right up next to it, or maybe even in it.
Yeah, you don't really. I know that this doesn't sound. You don't really look up and you don't really see it. You're focused straight ahead, and you're always looking what's up ahead of you, anticipating maybe any trouble or where you're going to end up when you get to the next turn. That's one of my favorite words about being a great driver is anticipation. Anticipate where I'm going to end up.
Victory lane?
Hopefully that's where I'd like to be.
All right.
How you doing?
Hey, how are you? My guy here has had the worst luck this season. It's been terrible, right?
Bad, really bad.
So we need to know what you got that's going to help turn his luck around.
Lucky rabbit foot.
So that really does work?
Is this
Heck
a real
yeah.
rabbit foot?
Rub those toenails every time you're like, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna win.
I got a Buddha here for you. Drum is always good, right? I mean,
Heck yeah.
making...
You're going into battle.
I think we got this guy covered now.
I think we do. Thanks for coming. How you doing?
Hey, how are you? My guy here has had the worst luck this season. It's been terrible, right?
Bad, really bad.
So we need to know what you got that's going to help turn his luck around.
Lucky rabbit foot.
So that really does work?
Is this
Heck
a real
yeah.
rabbit foot?
Rub those toenails every time you're like, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna win.
I got a Buddha here for you. Drum is always good, right? I mean,
Heck yeah.
making...
You're going into battle.
I think we got this guy covered now.
I think we do. Thanks for coming.
So guess who Jeff's pick is on today's Credit One Bank Ones to Watch.
Mike, how can I not go with Kyle Larson? I mean, all that money I spent over there trying to get him some luck, and he's got that rabbit's foot. He's got all kinds of goodies, but he also has more top tens here at Dover than any other track. He's led a bunch of laps. He's in fourth position. I think luck is coming his way, and he might get a win today.
Yeah, Jeff, Kevin Harvick won this race a year ago. It was one of 8 wins in 2018. He led 61% of the laps here in 2018 as well. For a man that's winless, I think we knew this would be a good measuring stick. Finally, Happy Harvick gets happier today.
Okay, so my man has won a couple of races here at Dover, and one of them was on Monday. What day is this? Monday? Martin Truex and Cole Pern to victory lane.
Well, Joey Logano has never won here at Dover, but he's got the best car right now that he's had all day long. He led some laps earlier in the race. If he can get some track position, remember we've got one more pit stop. If he can get the track position, he just might finish the job today.
Well, I got a bowl of Lucky Charms right here for Alex Bowman. Last time we ran here on Monday, a Cup driver got his first win. He's finished in every position, 2 through 43, but first, Bowman will show him today.
Yeah, I think that some of that good luck's going to rub off on Larson today. Why not? I mean, you spent a lot of money.
Yeah, I think he gave you. Yeah, he showed you some of those good luck charms.
Yeah, I don't know.
How you feeling about that, Darrell?
Well,
we all know who
it was
got
him
to,
and Jeff. You know, I don't know how I got involved in this.
We certainly know who got to choose first.
Jamie.
Well, the bad luck hasn't just been on the track. Last week, after barrel rolling down the backstretch at Talladega, his coach driver is driving the bus home, his home on wheels, and it blew up. Engine expired. Larson said, that's it, we're turning it around here. And Jeff, to your point, Larson is taking home the candles, the rabbit foot, the crystals. He's got it all together, and he's taking it home after this race.
I hope it wasn't in the coach.
Well, let's see how this race ends up before we commit to taking any of that with him.
Wouldn't he want to take that up to Kansas with him next week? Just in case it works. I'd fill my pockets up.
We're watching the battle for 12th place. Suarez, Blaney, and a high-riding Kyle Busch. .98 laps to go, Larry.
Yeah, you've heard Vince, Matt, and Jamie talk about one more stop, and that's going to be interesting because those 9 drivers that stayed out on that last caution, like Truex and Harvick, Bowman, Larson, and Elliott, they're going to have to pit somewhere around 75 to 80 laps to go. Now, the other drivers that pitted on that last caution, like Logano and Jimmy Johnson, William Byron, they can go roughly to somewhere there around 15 or 20 more laps than that. But I think that's going to be the key. We talked about it yesterday in the pre-race. The key could be strategy late in the race. Who gets those tires first and rolls the dice? That could be the difference maker.
I totally agree, Larry. I think no matter what happens, whether this thing goes caution-free or not, I think there's a good chance this race is won on pit road.
So here's when the top 10 were last on pit road. Won't be long before that fuel window opens to get to the finish. Well, William Byron has picked off 2 in the last 2 laps. First Clint Boyer and now Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, they got him tightened up a little bit, Mike. I don't see the car stepping out quite like it was most of the day. So they definitely, Chad has done a good job of getting the car better.
Well, that move puts all 4 Hendrick Chevrolets in the top 10.
Yeah, no doubt that, I mean, this has been traditionally a great track for Hendrick Motorsports. Certainly this guy right here leads the way with 11 wins for Hendrick Motorsports and Chevrolet. But no doubt they're having a great day today.
Well, we still got about, I don't know, 95 laps to go here. This is when the race is decided. Hendrick Motorsports got 20 wins here at Dover, so they obviously know this racetrack very well. Had a lot of success here. But let me tell you, these last 90 laps, these are the ones where you really got to bear down, not make any mistakes, because you're getting tired. It's all on the line.
With 93 to go, Martin Truex up by 1.1 seconds on Kevin Harvick and another 2 seconds on Alex Bowman. Matt?
Mike, if you ask the fans, they would tell you without a doubt Phoenix will be Kevin Harvick's best racetrack since the formation of the 4 team. But if you ask Rodney Childers, he feels like that they've had more speed over the years right here at Dover. They just haven't had the same win tally. You go back to last year, dominated this event. In fact, both races combined led almost 500 laps here at Dover. They had the lead last year, a 10-second lead. Then on a pit stop, a valve stem got knocked off on the stop. 72 laps to go. They feel like they've had so much speed here. Maybe today they can put it together once again like a year ago.
Well, since coming to Stewart-Haas, Kevin Harvick has led more laps at Dover than at any other track on the circuit.
Yeah, one thing I see between the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. and the 4 of Kevin Harvick, Truex seems to get through traffic just a little bit better than Harvick does. Harvick struggles a little bit when he has to move around and try to get by the cars. Truex, on the other hand, seems to be able to get him, pass him wherever he wants to. So Truex still got the best race car. They're nip and tuck for lap times, but Truex still a little bit better.
Teammates battle for 8th.
Whoa, that's where that 24 has struggled off the corner, get a little loose.
You know, he's still just looking for a little spark out of Jimmy Johnson, this 48 team, Kevin Meendering. I mean, this was a big test for them, right, to come into this track, which is one of Jimmy Johnson's best tracks. And, you know, to see him the 4th out of those 4 Hendrick cars tells me that they're still searching for a little bit of something.
And here's Boyer blasting on by. Eric Jones has been a top 10 car all day.
Yeah, he's just quietly been running in, around 10th place, having a pretty good run. He's running 7th right now, and he's been right near the top 5 all day long.
Well, you know what that means? You know whose top 10 streak is in jeopardy? Kyle Busch started the season with 10 top 10s. The all-time record, Morgan Shepherd with 11, but Kyle right now is in 13th position.
When I look, and we've already done it a couple of times, so I don't want to beat a dead horse, but when we look at his numbers in this spring race, Kyle Busch's numbers here, he's never had a top 10.
Jamie?
Well, when Kyle Busch got the wall, he said, "I'm done, we're killed." Well, of course, Adam Stevens' crew chief never gives up in those situations. They went to work on that car, took a big swing at it, cleared the fenders, and now Kyle said, "Hey, it's getting better. It's pretty good right now, but we still need to free this car up some more."
Mike, I've never had a top 10 in this spring race. He's had obviously a top 10s in the fall race, but this spring race has been his Achilles heel for some time now.
But that's the emotional roller coaster you're on here at this racetrack. You know, he brushes the wall. He knows those fenders are flared out, probably going to cut a tire, and we're over. We're done. They get down on the pit road, fix that damage. We're back in it.
Well, I say he's running 13th. That is better than he has ever finished in the spring race here.
Yep.
Which is unbelievable. That's unbelievable to me, of all that Kyle Busch has accomplished and what he's accomplished at this track in the fall.
And Mike, I know what do we got? About 85 laps to go here yet. But let me tell you, those arms are getting a little weary now. You've been fighting this thing now for 317 laps, getting a little weary.
And I said ever on Kyle Busch? No, just in this current streak of the last 5 years or so, where he's had great fall results and horrible spring results.
Yeah, same.
Not ever.
Brad Keselowski is, faded here. Obviously, that number 2 car is not to his liking right now. Boy, Kyle Busch almost brushed the wall again off of turn 2 right there behind Brad Keselowski. But yeah, going back to Brad, he led this race earlier. He looked like he was in position to really be a major threat. And ever since then, they've just lost something. He and Paul Wolfe just have not been able to keep up with this racetrack.
No, in the 18 now is working underneath the 2 of Keselowski, and I think he'll make that pass. So that moves Kyle up another spot.
Here comes Larson to pit road. He is just before the start-finish line with a big opening in front of him. 4 tires. Jamie?
Kyle Larson leads the charge. As you saw, the 19 follow suit down pit road. The 42 has been really tight. More adjustments there, more wedge adjustment. A 4-tire stop for Larson.
The 19 is in. A little bit tight on exit for Martin Truex Jr., one of the best cars in final practice. Not even pushing him. 2 wins here, 9 years apart. Great stop by Cunningham and Robinson.
Alex Bowman getting left sides to go along with those rights. Brad Keselowski getting service. Larry, they opened the pit window. Everybody wanted to jump in through it.
Well, I was just telling Barry Landis, our producer, Kyle Larson is the one that played the game first. When he came, to my point earlier, this could be the last stop. You can't afford to sit out there and run laps and be way off on the stopwatch. You had to come, as we saw all these drivers do.
Chase Elliott, the race leader. Byron and Logano coming in together. Vince.
Well, the 22 of Joey Logano, we told you just a little bit ago that the car really has been as good as it has been all day long. It's just a matter of track position, so it's just going to be tires and gas for Joey Logano, and hoping that they can get some of that track position as they go here in the closing laps of this race. 4 and fuel for Logano. Now, as far as the 9 of Chase Elliott, you saw him on pit road as well. And Chase said that the entry has stayed fairly free, but it's not gotten worse. And he really told crew chief Alan Gustafson, I'm having trouble telling you what to do to it to make it better. It's a little snug in the center, but that's my only complaint. 4 tires, gas, and they're going to put a little bit of tape on the front for the 9 of Chase Elliott, who's led the most laps today.
So we've cycled through to Jimmy Johnson out front from Daniel Suarez, Kyle Busch, and Eric Almirola, all of whom were on pit road at lap 266, as was Austin Dillon. We talk about how tough a pit entry this is. Watch the 12 of Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, and that's about the closest we've seen of anybody. I mean, Ryan Blaney definitely attacked that entry. I think with all the downforce that these cars have, it looks to me like they're able to be more aggressive to pit road and still make it on the pit road without having any problems, far more than we've seen in the past.
Daniel Suarez wants the lead. He's going to take it from Jimmy Johnson.
I'll tell you, I've been watching this battle right here. The 88, the 4, the 42. They've run up on lap traffic. It was Newman in the 6, but now there's Bubba Wallace. It kind of separated them a little bit, man, but they were racing like crazy to get around each other.
Well, that track position has been so important all day long. They knew on pit road that's going to be their opportunity to get just that, and it has worked out for the 42 of Larson to get by the 4 of Kevin Harvick.
What I like, Jeff, and this big rear spoiler really allows you to charge the corner. You see these guys drive hard down in the corner, but they're under control. They're not out of car. The car's not spinning out. They're not crazy loose or anything. They are under control.
And also Bowman also able to get by that 4 of Kevin Harvick.
So our top 4, Larry, that were on pit road at 266 can go how far before they'll have to come in?
They should be able to go another 10 or 12 laps, somewhere around 60, 65 to go. But you know what? I like what they're doing. Those top 4, Suarez, Johnson, Kyle Busch, Almirola, heads up. They're not going to beat the guys that's up front. The only way you do it, you do something different, and that's what they're doing.
Well, we are by a casino. I like gamblers.
That's
I like
true.
gamblers.
I thought the interesting move was by Cole Pern. You know, some of those others came down to short pit our leader, Martin Truex Jr., but Cole Pern wasn't having it. He's like, let's go ahead and get on pit road right away.
Yeah, when you have the best car, you can dictate what everybody else is going to do if you've got the best car.
Eric Almirola among those front 4. And now Harvick and Elliott, who pitted 3 laps apart, but if we stay green, it's their last stop of the day, running 8th and 9th.
Yeah, Harvick's car, I don't think it's quite as good, Mike. It's, one thing I've noticed about the 4 car, it's good on the longer run. Seems like the longer he runs, he stays pretty consistent. But he's gotten gobbled up here by a couple of cars. The 88, one of them, and the 42 they drove by him and went on.
18 of Kyle Busch on pit road, just making it onto pit road.
That looked hot.
Giving up on the long run strategy and hoping for that caution flag that would pin most everybody else one down. Jamie.
Yeah, not to be seen there. You saw the tear off, so he has clear vision till the end of the race. A little bit tighter, saying he's really getting tight in those last 15 to 20 laps. 4 tire stop here for the 18 of Kyle Busch.
So that leaves Suarez, Johnson, and Almirola on the tail end of their run with 67 to go. And Martin Truex trying to eat them up. Now Truex is a lap down because of making a green flag pit stop. And that will change once the 3 leaders come in.
Hey, Mike, if they run it as far as they can, right now, Suarez, Johnson, Almirola, they have everybody else a lap down. The caution comes out before they pit. They get 4 fresh tires at best. Truex and everybody else, all they can do is take the wave around. I'd do exactly what the 41 and 48 10's doing. Run it as far as you can go.
Ryan Preece returning to pit road because of an uncontrolled tire on his stop. Here's Bubba Wallace in.
Mike, I agree with Larry, except you got to be able to run a decent speed. You can't give up so much trying this strategy that it hurts you.
Jimmy Johnson coming.
He's looking. Here he comes.
Boy, he came in hot, and
he had a lot of tire smoke locked up.
Almirola comes with him.
You want to stay on that banking as long as you possibly can. Boy, he comes so late to pit road trying to get it slowed down on that banking.
And pit road speed is measured from yellow line to yellow line. Matt.
His best racetrack, Mike. They've already made the chassis adjustment on the 48. There you see they're making another one. He just needs so much help on entry of the corner. Just way too tight, Vince.
The 10 of Eric Almirola been struggling to find where the comfort zone is with this car as well. It's 4 tires, air pressure adjustment of the 10 of Almirola.
So Daniel Suarez has the field in an enviable position, 1 lap behind him.
And going back to that pit road entry, one of the things I think these drivers are taking advantage of, that #1 segment as you come onto pit road is the longest segment on pit road. It's 212 feet long. So even if they're speeding a tiny bit as they come over that yellow line, they have time and distance to be able to slow it down.
And you know what's interesting about Suarez? His lap times are about the same as some of the guys that came and got tires already. And so he's not giving up a lot of time on the racetrack right now.
61 to go. A 23.96 for Suarez, a 23.95 for Martin Truex. 1 lap down in second. You won't miss a thing as we go double wide. Welcome back to the Gander RV 400, where Daniel Suarez has a lap on the field. He and Denny Hamlin have not yet made this final green flag stop. Hamlin in 12th place and Suarez 1 lap up on the field. Here's your Gander RV race summary. Suarez, one of 11 different leaders, 14 lead changes. And here he comes to pit road. 6 caution flags so far. Clean entry. And as he makes his stop, that will unlap the next 12 cars. So Suarez having a great run here, did not catch the caution that would have pinned the field 1 lap down. But gave it a valiant try. Here he comes with 53 laps to go, Vince.
Well, you got to give crew chief Billy Scott credit for giving it a shot. This team has done a nice job. 12th in the standings, but really the devil's in the details. They've not executed at times this season, and that's cost them some results that they feel like they should have gotten. But it's been a solid day today. Clean stop. Gas and go. 4 tires.
Leaves only Denny Hamlin and David Reagan, who have not made their green flag stop. So 52 to go, and things cycle around to 13 cars on the lead lap. Truex all the way back to Hamlin.
I think Truex can put on cruise now. Bowman is second, pretty far back.
I've just noticed a big cloud has come over this racetrack. You see the shade. And this track, especially when there's rubber laid down in the middle of a run like this or early in a run, it really changes the grip level and changes the balance of the race car that these drivers and the teams really can't adjust for.
The ambient temperature's been coming up all day. We started at about 60 and now we're right on to 70 degrees.
Well, to Jeff's point, it is concrete, and it does affect it, obviously, but not as drastic as if it was an asphalt racetrack. So it will have some effect on these cars, I'm sure.
50 laps to go as Hamlin finally makes his pit stop. Chevrolets with 3 of the top 5 spots. Truex leading a Toyota, Harvick 4th in a Ford. But Chase Elliott in his last 25 starts versus every other Chevrolet in those same 25 races.
Wow.
And look at the difference.
Those are some big numbers.
You know, Chase Elliott and Alan Gustafson remind me of Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus when they came to Hendrick Motorsports. They took all the resources that Hendrick Motorsports had, the success of some of the other teams like the 24 car, and they built on it and just did it better. And that's what Chase Elliott and Alan Gustafson, a big slide right there from Chase Elliott through 1 and 2. But that's what they're doing. They're taking those resources, they're to the details and just bringing a little bit more to the racetrack every single weekend.
You know, 48 stayed out. I think it hurt him a little bit, Mike, because he's all the way back to 15th place with that strategy that he was trying to employ.
And Suarez has re-entered the race in 12th place, still on the lead lap.
And our buddy Kyle Busch, who's trying to have another top 10, is 10th.
Just barely hanging on to Ty Morgan Shepherd's record.
Always think about what Cale told Jimmy Johnson when Jimmy won 3 in a row. Son, you only tied me. You haven't beat me yet. Now, of course, it didn't take long, but.
Watching Alex Bowman versus Martin Truex. On the last lap, Bowman was a couple of hundredths quicker. The lap before, Truex was a couple of hundredths quicker. Their lap times don't seem to vary much one to the other, except for traffic.
Yeah, it just seems like I don't know. It seems like the 19 car has been able to work through traffic just a little bit easier and a little bit better than just about anybody, really. But I think that just tells you how good a race car he's got.
.44 laps to go. Time for a quick word from Duracell.
This is the #1 trusted brand.
The last time the top 2 finishers started in the rear was Talladega in the fall of 2014. Brad Keselowski and Matt Kenseth had to come from all the way back to the front, much as Martin Truex and second place Alex Bowman have had to do today.
And not taking away anything from what those guys did at Talladega, but doing it at Dover on a very fast racetrack that's been pretty tough to pass on. To me, this is far more impressive.
Matt on the leader.
And Mike, you touched on it perfectly. The fact that he's been able to gap and pace himself while working up on lap traffic. His spotter, Clayton Hughes, has done an impressive job the last third of the race, trying to work the 19 around the lap cars, because it seems like the complaints I've heard today, typically they would move more to the outside lane like you're seeing the 38 there, but they haven't done that today. They've been staying down more in the lane, so he's been having to really pace himself on overtaking.
Clayton Hughes, his spotter, is doing a pretty good job, though, Mike, because I have watched, and it does seem that guys are aware that the 19 is there, and I have seen a lot of guys give way to him, and maybe when they wouldn't normally. So Clayton's doing a nice job of working that traffic for him.
Well, from what I've seen, the guys that he's coming up on, they can't keep it on the bottom of the racetrack like he can. His car is stuck like glue to the bottom of this racetrack.
No, he's got a great car. I think that's why he's able to get through traffic so well. I don't think there's a car we watched all day, whether they were leading or not, that didn't have some issue somewhere, get a little sideways or maybe get a little too close to the wall. That 19 has not been out of shape one time.
So 40 laps to go with the corner speeds that they're carrying here. I've got to wonder, even at 400 laps, does fatigue become a factor?
Well, in the words of my good buddy Rusty Wallace, their guts are hanging out. I'm just going to tell you. Because look, you've been on the wheel. You're fighting as the fastest cars we've had in there in a long time. A lot of downforce. You're working your tail off in that race car.
When you're working your arms, your shoulders, your legs, every bit, your neck. I mean, we right on board here with Clint Boyer. And to me, the thing that I had to do here at this racetrack, probably more than any other, because of the grip you have on that steering wheel being in the corner so long, is my palm and the nerves in my upper forearm would start to go numb. So I would start having to move my hand around, wiggle my fingers on a long run like this.
Yep. And you're right, Jeff. Watching Boyer, he does not blink, but about once per lap. Here's what the drivers have to say about racing Dover.
You really got to stay physically fit throughout that race.
The feeling is like no other. The banks, the compression you feel in the car.
And the best way to get through it is to relax and try and get in a rhythm.
The whole time you're out there, you're like, there's no way in hell this car is going to keep me in this corner.
You know, you just start feeling it rattle, and the best way to get through it is to relax and try and get in a rhythm.
36 of 400 laps to go.
And Mike, they talked about relax, but how do you relax when you're on 160 mile an hour?
The word I heard was try.
Try, yeah.
You might try, but when you're in the corners this long and this fast, it is very difficult to relax.
Well, we're coming down to we're in the last 10% of this race, Larry.
Yeah, Mike, I've looked at the last 10 spring Dover races, and the average of the last caution is around lap 364, which we're right there, roughly 34, 35, 36 laps to go. 4 times in those 10 races, we had one in the final 25 laps, and we had a couple of overtime finishes here, 2015 and 2 years ago in 2017.
Thanks, Larry. The gap first to second has stayed quite constant between Truex and Bowman. We're going to take you Fox side by side, then we'll be clear to the finish.
Okay.
This Saturday on FS1, we go under the lights in Kansas. It all starts with race day at 7 Eastern. Green flag at 7:30 on FS1 and the Fox Sports app.
Kansas City Star, that's what I are. Do.
26 laps to go, 25 in Dover. And we were wondering what happened to Brad Keselowski, currently 1 lap down in 12th place, Matt.
Mike, it just has not been the day for Keselowski like they had hoped. Go back a year ago, he finished top 3 in both stage 1 and stage 2 before finishing 6th, leading 108 laps. But I talked to Paul Wolf before the race. They had to make wholesale changes. They had the speed in qualifying. They just did not have the long run speed with this package here at Dover, and they just have not hit upon it. It seems like the longer they run, the tighter that race car gets. Entry hasn't been the issue all day. Center to exit has.
And that's why he is 1 lap down, currently in 12th place. Truex leading by 5.8 seconds on Alex Bowman. That gap has opened up just a little bit over the last few laps. Here's Larson and Harvick, 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, and we talk about Harvick's car being good on the long runs. This is going to be a really long run here, and you can see him starting to pull up on the rear bumper of Kyle Larson and moving around the racetrack to do it.
Tell you another guy that has done a nice job of finding another lane, because it's William Byron. You see him, he runs the bottom when he needs to, but he can also run the top, which is, I think, paying off. He's picking up a few spots here at the end of the race.
I think when this one's all over, I know they qualified on the front row, maybe had a little bit higher expectations, but this is a really solid run for William Byron. This is a tough place to be in the top 10 for 400 laps.
Well, you think about all 4 of the Hendrick cars really had a nice day today. 3 of them in the top 10. Jimmy running 14th, but pretty nice day. Sat on the front row. Not bad.
There's quite a scuffle here for 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Well, it is, and Williams been driving the wheels off. You see him step out the back of the car. He's driving it hard, and I think Boyer's a little bit better than he is right now.
Whoa.
We had high hopes for Kyle Larson today, currently 3rd, 12.3 seconds back.
Driving close to the 12. I don't know why they just don't give it to us. I mean, I would say the 12's not going to be any easier to pass than the 21, so just the way it is when you get some guys. I mean, it's not for a lack of effort. I'm trying, but they don't want to move. Yeah, there's nothing you can do.
I don't know if the 12 is their biggest problem. Right there, you saw Kyle Larson jump sideways off of turn 4. I thought the car was coming around on him.
Matt?
Mike, it wasn't that long ago that Harvick sitting in 4th was only about 6 seconds back of leader Martin Truex Jr. Now, that's almost 13 seconds. Harvick says that he can manage his race car. You can see him down there on the bottom, but he just can't drive it like he would like to. When he does, it just develops a push and just gets progressively worse. He's just trying to bring it home, see what he can make go here with 18 laps left.
Harvick trying to salvage a top 5 here. 12.7 seconds back.
Well, it wasn't I guess it's kind of a Harvick day. I mean, you know, to finish a top 5, that's a good run for anybody. Maybe not what they expect, but still a pretty good run for him.
But kind of a Harvick year. If you think of 2019, we've just not seen him dominate this year like we did last year, maybe even the year before.
Let's show you how this track has changed as we've gone through the day, and the concrete takes rubber early in the day on the left.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Much later on the right.
Look at that. I mean, you wouldn't. They're 2 different racetracks.
And when that rubber lays down on the racetrack like that, it changes the grip level a lot. So, and right here, look how dark it is in that where those right sides are. That's actually rubber built up, maybe 1/8 of an inch on that racetrack. When you hit that, the car takes off on you.
I think that's where the more experienced crew chiefs particularly, they kind of anticipate those kind of things, Mike, and how to set their car up shock-wise, chassis-wise, so that it'll ride through those that build-up like that without any problem.
Kyle Busch, who claimed his car had been killed earlier in the race, but they revived it up, got him going, and he's just hanging on to the top 10. By the way, Kyle has an 8-race top 10 streak going at Kansas, where we go Saturday night.
And that wasn't always one of his most favorite tracks. That track gave him a lot of trouble for a while.
And Daniel Suarez, who had that long run in the lead, still on the lead lap. 22 back. He's about 2 seconds ahead of the leaders. In 11th place.
Mike, this is one conditioning right here. I know we only got 14 laps to go, but the guys that are dehydrated, that were hydrated well, that thought this race out, were prepared for this race, this is when they shine.
Nice run for Eric Jones today, solidly in the top 10, 6th place.
I think the biggest surprise to me today has really been, I mean, I was a little surprised Truex was able to come up through there as quick as he did, but not surprised he's leading this race right now. But Alex Bowman, what a performance by that team and that driver to be able to not only overcome coming from the back, but be so solid and strong on pit road, on the track. Great drive. I said it earlier. I think this is a career drive for this kid.
Yeah, I think Eric Jones, another guy, is 6th place right now in a 20 car. Just a nice solid run by them all day. I didn't know how he would look in the race, but he's done very well. You know, you're going back down the line. Even William Byron starting on the outside pole today. He's had good account of himself today.
Best battle on the track the last 5 laps or so has been Joey Logano, William Byron, and Clint Boyer, especially in lap traffic. They've been changing lanes, nipping at each other's heels, and now it's settled down a little bit here with 11 to go. So they pull up on Matt DiBenedetto carrying the FDNY, Fire Department of New York colors.
Yeah, you know, Mike, and right now we've probably got the most cloud cover we've had over the track for quite some time. That helps a little bit, these closing laps.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Darrell, because we know when the cloud cover comes in, what to do, it cools the track down. And it seems like the grip's maybe gotten a little bit better because I'm seeing a lot more cars, even though Suarez right there went to the top, closing in on that 10th place Kyle Busch. I'm seeing more guys run the very bottom of the racetrack more than I've seen most of the day.
And you know what? Daniel Suarez has no idea that Kyle Busch is trying to have another top 10.
And even if he did,
he wouldn't matter. No, he'd even try harder.
Only thing he knows is he wants a top 10. Harvick's car all day long looks like it has a lot of security on entry. He can carry a lot of speed. He's riding behind Kyle Larson. Watch how he carries a good amount of speed into the corner and lets it drift up. So that's what his plan is I'm going to carry more speed in, use less brake to the center of the corner, and then get the throttle a little bit later, but get straighter off the corner.
Yeah, he's kind of got that diamond thing going on. You see him go in low, up in the middle, and then trying to come off the corner with a lot of speed, and that seems to be working for him right now. Got a little battle going on here between the 9 and the 20. That's for 5th place.
Well, Eric Jones just quietly has been solid all day long, putting a really good race together.
And Jeff, that's what I see out of him, Eric Jones. He will quietly. I just think back to Daytona. He was terrible at Daytona, and he finished up 3rd in the race when the day was over with. He does that a lot.
Well, and think about who used to drive that 20 car, Matt Kenseth. So they didn't have to adjust much at all. They've got a very similar type of driving style and personality in Eric Jones as they did with Matt.
Yep, agree.
Minus maybe some of the dry humor that Matt Kenseth always had.
Right. Boy, the Gibbs team having a good day, but for Denny Hamlin.
6-second lead now.
Hamlin 3 laps down in 22nd.
Let me catch you this 00 again. That's the next car in front of you. He's running the bottom all the way around here.
The top 10, 4 Chevys, 3 Fords, 3 Toyotas, including Truex in the top spot with 4 to go.
You know, this is about the most nervous part of the race for someone that's leading it like Truex is, because you are praying that no one makes a mistake.
You're praying nothing breaks, nothing vibrates, and nobody has an issue and brings out that caution.
No leaks or squeaks at this point.
Cole Pern behind the team engineer there. He's won a lot of races in Delaware on the Cars Tour. That racetrack's in Delaware, Ontario.
Yeah.
Similar.
Yep.
Tell you one thing, I think it just took a little bit of time for this 19 bunch, Cole Pern and Martin Truex Jr., to get comfortable at Gibbs over there. But I think they're home now. I think they can call that home, and they're starting to put together some great runs and some wins. And that's a big change for them.
Yeah, but Boy, they're a great combination. They showed it in Richmond. They're showing it again here in Dover.
Here comes the white flag, sponsored by Credit One Bank, for Martin Truex of Mayetta, New Jersey.
Way high. Still outside. Still outside. Got plenty of room behind him to bring it back here, bud. Plenty of room behind him. Just bring it back to the checker flag for me, brother.
9-second lead over Alex Bowman, who's going to have a career day. Martin on Monday. Martin Truex wins the Gander RV 400.
Oh, that was awesome.
21st career victory.
I can breathe now.
Tells you what it meant to him.
Yeah, I can take a breath now.
And he wins the Golden Miles the Monster.
Ooh, yeah, and that thing is cool,
Oh, man. That's so cool.
Way to be, James. Good job, guys.
We call him Monday Martin because now the last 2 times we've raced at Dover on Monday, there's the driver that's gone to victory lane.
Every time we come to Dover, he's going to be hoping for rain on Sunday. Might be the only one.
Started in the back after inspection issues, as did Alex Bowman, the second place finisher. Kyle Larson, Kevin Harvick, Chase Elliott, the pole sitter, the top 5. Today's victory was fueled by Sunoco. Sunoco fueling victories all season long.
And burnouts.
Got his first stage win of the season and his second victory of the season, and becomes the 7th driver in 2019 to win stage 2 and the race in our 11 races so far.
And he kept Bowman from winning a stage, and he kept Bowman from winning a race. Right. So a lot of people might be happy, but I bet Alex Bowman isn't one of them.
8 wins at Dover for Joe Gibbs Racing, scoring their 7th of the season.
It's already ruined that left rear tire. I wish you would look at that.
I think who's breathing easiest right now is Kyle Larson. He had a trouble-free, error-free, nobody else's problem-free race, finishes 3rd. Nice job.
Yep. He's going to look at that as a big gain. I brought him some luck.
Jersey boy salutes the local crowd. Vince Welch.
The first track in which Martin Truex Jr. has won 3 times in this series, and it's one of the places he calls home. And I'll tell you what, I know you're going to hope for rain every year when you come here to get a chance to race on Monday again. You won your first series race here on a Monday, and you did it today. How good does it feel to be back in victory lane at this place?
Man, it feels incredible. So thankful for this team, and what a race car we had today. Sirius XM Camry was just incredible. Thanks to everybody back in the shop, JGR, Bass Pro, auto owners, everybody who supports us and makes this deal happen. We got one hell of a team, and we came here with a new setup this time because we had kind of an older setup that we won with in 2016. We'd been good, but not good enough. And just hats off to Cole and James and all those guys. Everybody at TRD back in California, Costa Mesa for some awesome engines, awesome horsepower, and thanks to all these fans that come out today on a Monday, man. This is awesome.
Look at all these fans over here along the fence. Hey, they say this is a tough place to pass, man. You started at the back and you won by over 9 seconds. You made it look easy.
I promise it wasn't easy. It was a lot of work. It was tough, but this race car, man, it was just incredible. So just thanks to everybody that makes this all possible, honestly. And what a relief. I can't believe it. I mean, without Talladega, we'd have 2 in a row. So pretty special. New group of guys this year. Coach has put together a good bunch, and Cole and everybody. And I'm really, really proud to drive these Toyotas. They're awesome, and I'm a very lucky guy.
Well done. Martin Truex Jr. wins at Dover.
Martin Truex captures the flag and will head for Sunoco victory lane. after picking up his second Monday win in the first state. He will hoist the rewards, including this, the gold-plated Miles, the Monster.
I wish you'd look at that.
Today's aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Those who live up to their names make one for themselves. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. The celebration begins. So here are your point standings, leaving Dover, heading for Kansas later this week. With your 6 race winners at the top, Kevin Harvick still leading those who have not been to victory lane. And nailing down the final transfer spot right now is Eric Jones.
Hey Martin, this is Jeff and the guys up in the Fox Sports booth. Congratulations, number one, awesome win, man. That car looks so good through the center of the corner. You know, that transition for you and Cole Pern and others to come over to Joe Gibbs Racing is a big one. And earlier in the season, and we didn't quite see the kind of speed that we've seen out of you guys, but boy, recently we have. I mean, what has started to click for you at Richmond and now here at Dover?
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. I think just putting all the details together. You know, we've had speed all year. We finished second at Atlanta. Felt like we had the best car. We had some issues on pit road, and you know, Phoenix we run second again, and it just seems like, you know, we were just having little hiccups here and there, and now we're starting to not only make our cars a little bit faster, show up a little bit better on Fridays, and we're just a step ahead throughout the weekend, and the pit crew really is doing a great job, and that's been the difference. We had a lot of trouble in the pits early in the year and didn't really get to show our speed, but now the guys as a group are coming together and really gelling and doing a fine job, and we're able to take advantage of fast race cars now.
Well done. Congratulations, Martin. Enjoy the
Thanks,
celebration.
guys.
Yeah, impressive.
Yeah. Good job,
Let's
Martin.
hear
Appreciate it.
from the second place finisher.
Thank you.
What a great example of execution. Started at the back and nearly joined Jody Ridley and Martin Truex scoring their first wins right here at Dover. 400 laps. You look like you could go an extra 100 like the old days.
I'm worn out. This is the physically hardest race of the year. For me, for sure. I think we're in Martin's way. I wish I was in his way at the end of the race, but no, we at least had a shot at it. It's really all you can ask for. Congrats to them. You know, our nationwide Blue Vine, small business, pitchtowinbig.com. Chevy was really good. Cool deal they got going on. A small business owner can enter to win $100,000, so that's a pretty neat promotion for them. But so proud of Greg Ives and everybody on this 88 team. We had a miserable start to the season, and we did a really good job resetting over the off week, and you know, we've come out strong since then.
Back-to-back, not only top 5 finishes, but back-to-back second-place finishes, almost scored 2 wins in a row. What does that do for the confidence department, not only for you, but for the entire team around the 88?
It'd be better if we had a trophy, right? But you know, we needed this for sure. So Talladega is a speedway. It's a lot of luck involved, but to come here to, in my opinion, the hardest racetrack we go to and run like that from the back of all things was pretty special. And just proud of everybody at Hendrick Motorsports for all of the improvement we've made over the last year or so, and we're going to keep it going.
Before today, his best finish at Dover was 20th. He nearly walked away with a win.
Well, Kyle Larson finally brings it home in the top 5, a third-place finish, and we had a little fun with the whole luck thing coming into it, Kyle, but finally you guys delivered what you expected out of this car. Describe your day overall.
Yeah, I mean, it was solid. I thought, you know, we ran inside the top 5 all race long and fought tight early on with our Credit One Bank Chevy, but, you know, freed it up and got to where I felt like I was pretty good. And then the last run there, after cycling through green flag stops, I was really loose and got stuck in traffic and then was just looser in dirty air, so just made my tires pissed off and had to just make sure I hit the bottom, you know, lap after lap to hold Harvick off. So yeah, it was good to finally have a clean race. I don't think we've had a clean weekend all year long, and we're, I don't know, what are we, 11 or 12 weeks into the season, so it's good to finally get a clean day, like I said, and you know, thanks to our race team. Our pit crew did a good job today as well, so nice day.
Good job. Thank you.
Fun race, a lot of different leaders. There's the winner's sticker being added to Martin Truex's Toyota, but 2007 on the left, his first career win. And today. Hey, Kyle Busch finished in the top 10. He ties Morgan Shepherd's record, but Morgan, after that race, didn't get another top 10 for 6 more races. We'll see how Kyle does. Can he break the record in Kansas?
I think he does, and I think DW knows he's probably going to also.
Yeah, I think Martin Truex and Cole Pert, they found a new home, and they wanted their home track. Good job, guys.
Speak for yourself with Whitlock and Wiley, and then a special post-race edition. Well, it's at the regular time on its regular day, Monday. NASCAR Race Hub. We'll have lots more news and interviews from this big weekend at Dover. 50th anniversary celebration of the Speedway in the first state. And Martin Truex Jr., boy, he's the one celebrating. See you in Kansas. It was quite a Monday at Dover. Chase Elliott appeared to be running away from the field. Brad Keselowski had his turn at the front. Daniel Suarez had a long run strategy. Looked like he might have a shot, but the hometown favorite, Jersey boy Martin Truex, when that car got hooked up, it seemed like it never left the bottom of the corner after that.
Well, he and Alex Bowman started at the back of this field, and so we didn't see a lot out of them the first half of this race. I really thought Chase Elliott was going to have this race to himself, but that just goes to show you how good Cole Pearn and Martin Truex Jr. are, because once they got up front there, they checked out from there.
Yeah, Mike, I think when Cole Pearn and Martin Truex, when they moved over to Gibbs, that's a huge change. They've been out there in Denver by themselves. Nobody bothered them. They kind of did their own thing. Then they became a part of a four-car team, and they had to figure out how to fit themselves into that. They've done that now. So they've found a new home, and today they won one of Martin's home tracks. So I thought it was a pretty impressive performance.
As many lines on the track as there are storylines from this race. Alex Bowman, starting from the back, had a career day. He's had everything but a win. Came oh so close. Kyle Larson used some of Jeff's mojo that they went and got to have himself
and good execution.
A great race and great execution. He finishes up in the top 3. Kyle Busch ties a record for top 10 finishes to start the season. A lot of different storylines. It's one of the things we love about Dover. Thank you.